issuing this memorandum retroactive to January 20th, 2017. In a report by the New York Times, Schwab said there's no such thing as a retroactive waiver. If you need a retroactive waiver, you have violated the rules. Among the White House's 14 ethics waivers was a blanket release that permitted appointees to communicate with news organizations about policy matters after Trump took office, which critics say could be an after-the-fact effort to clear senior advisor and former Breitbart News chief Steve Bannon of interactions he purportedly had with his former news outlet after January 20th. Trump previously had Bannon sign an ethics pledge that barred him from interacting with Breitbart for 2 years. Other administration members also signed the pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports 3 former Pennsylvania State University officials were sentenced to jail on Friday for covering up ex-coach Jerry Sandusky's sexual predation and effectively letting him victimize more boys. In sentencing all 3 men for child endangerment, Judge John Bocabella in Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas also harshly criticized the late revered football coach Joe Paterno for failing to alert authorities. Former university president Graham Spanier, former athletic director Timothy Curley, and former vice president Gary Schultz were accused of covering up a 2001 complaint filed by then grad student Michael McQueary. Sandusky is serving 30 to 60 years in prison after he was convicted in 2012 of sexually abusing 10 boys over a 15-year period. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
At Greyhound, we're committed to providing our customers with an exceptional travel experience, and that's why we've outfitted our 2014 line of motor coaches with new deluxe roadway seating that's moderately less disgusting than our traditional fare tickets. For a flat surcharge of $35, customers can upgrade to our exclusive deluxe seating area, where select seats have been refurbished with premium upholstery, boasting significantly less crumbs and Wendy's bags stuffed between the seats, guaranteed to leave you somewhat less repulsed than you are normally. Relax in the comfort that when your feet stick to the floor, they'll be sticking to up to 65% less indeterminate dried fluids. Passengers who upgrade to our elite seating experience will have the option of personalizing the garbage surrounding their seat with a pre-ride selection process, as well as a priority boarding feature where they'll be able to settle into their high-end motor coach accommodations without having to navigate through a crowd of inebriates, ex-convicts, and the morbidly obese. And from all of us at Greyhound, happy travels.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, live Saturday edition of the program. As always, you can dial toll-free, and you can join us on the radio here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we've also got Skype. You can Skype into the show here at Skype username LRN.FM. Tonight, with you in the studio, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And we're going to start out with a story that I mentioned on, I think it was Wednesday, because that was the last time that we were both on the air. Mark, you and I took the last couple nights off to go down to New York City, where Talkers...
New York City?
Yeah, I get a rope. Where Talkers was hosting their yearly seminar/convention thing. It's a talk radio industry thing, and we've been going. This was, I believe, our 12th year. And so thank you to all of our Free Talk Live listeners who have become amplifiers for $5 a month. They've gotten perks for that $5, and we can talk more about that program later on. But it was the amplifiers who sent us down there and have been sending us down there year after year to schmooze it up with the bigwigs in talk radio. And it was good. It was a good conference. So glad to be back. We'll take your calls as always. Again, 855-450-FREE. But here's one of the stories that we didn't really get to cover that I thought was important, and it's very similar in sound to a story that we've covered, I think, at least twice in the last couple of years, which the last headline was that the amount that expatriation costs, the fee that you have to pay in order to leave the United States legally, like, see you later, don't want to be here anymore, Barack Obama or Donald Trump or whatever the reasons are,
whomever,
people leave, there's a fee that the government wants to charge you on the way out. And the news in the last couple of years was that fee had, I believe, doubled, if I'm recalling correctly. But yet the number of people that wanted to leave and were leaving was continuing to increase.
So there's a fee, and then there's the exit tax. Okay, so there's a percentage of your wealth you must give up to leave the country, and you must pay a fee in order to give up your citizenship. So, you can go someplace and you can live someplace,
but they still own you.
Well, that's
the
what
idea.
The United States government is unique in the world in that it claims a portion of your earnings no matter where you are in the world. Okay? So pretty much every government on the planet, except the United States' government, will say that, hey, you owe us money for that you make inside this particular polygon on the map.
Because you're here.
Right. If you're outside of this polygon, then that's the problem with the next polygon that you're in, whatever it means. So that makes more sense because essentially
it's still criminal.
Well, what it is it's a super ownership, a super level of ownership on land. So you own your property, however, there's an organization above your property which also claims to own it. So
then you don't own it.
Right. I understand.
You have maybe a ability to transfer a title that confers some level of responsibility for that property, but ultimately, if they get to take it from you, then you don't really own it.
Sure. You don't have certainly sole ownership over it, and there's forms of super ownership over yours. So the state, the municipality, the state, and the federal government all have kind of ownership over your land above you. And this is, in other countries, this is sort of the way they operate. They claim all the land in a given geographic area, and if you're making money in that given geographic area, you owe them money. However, the United States government not only does this, but it does one step further. They claim to own your labor. Now, if they own your labor, I presume they're claiming ownership of your body, too. And this is why I've made the claim on multiple occasions that citizenship is the new slavery. It certainly isn't antebellum chattel slavery from the 1850s. But
it's much more comfortable now.
Absolutely true. But slavery has existed with us since before the agricultural revolution. I mean, thousands of years, one would presume that slavery has always been with mankind. This is just a different sort, where a group of people claim to own your labor at any point. If you're on their land, then they claim to own your labor. That's that's one thing. But in the case of the United States, it's different and worse, more invasive. They claim to own your labor no matter where you are. So if you leave the United States,
that's true.
You go to Mexico, all right, and you just decide you're going to live in Guadalajara, and you're going to run your internet company that makes $1 million a year. The United States government claims a portion of your labor. And
it's crazy.
If you're a U.S. citizen.
Now, how would they know about it?
Well, I can't propose to claim that. I mean, you're
because normally in the United States, companies are going to send in tax paperwork. They're going to have you fill out W-9s or whatever they are, or 2s, or I don't remember.
They would still do that. I mean, if you're,
a foreign company would have you fill out IRS tax paperwork. I can't imagine they would even know what you would need to fill out.
If you're dealing with U.S. vendors and you're a U.S. company, you're going to get U.S. tax information, whether you, the owner of that company, happen to be out in Guadalajara or not. Now, if you incorporate companies outside of the United States and you create shell companies and all these sorts of things, then sure, it gets much more complicated.
But I know that they do have a way to kind of crack down on bank accounts, right? Like they will demand that banks sort of jump through whatever regulatory hoops that they want them to as far as reporting accounts of Americans.
This is one of the reasons that foreign banks really hate to do business with U.S. citizens, because the United States government has decided that foreign banks are obligated to provide all kinds of information to the United States government because of this stupid rule that they have. This extra rule that other countries don't have. Other countries don't want to give bank accounts to United States citizens. Other countries' banks.
According to CNBC.com, Americans abroad have just about had it with Uncle Sam's tax filing requirements. Those were the findings from a recent survey. of more than 2,100 U.S. expatriates.
Now, U.S. expatriates are hard to find. An expatriate just means somebody living outside the country. It doesn't mean they hate the United States. They're not America haters or anything like that. They just don't live here. A lot of people.
I suspect a lot of them have left because they're sick of the United States and the government.
I wouldn't propose to know the reasons that they've left, but I can tell you when I went to Belize, I saw a large expatriate community, and they just went down there because their dollars went farther. Many of them retired. They had a pension, or they had Social Security, or they had both. And they simply decided, look, this is a better place to live because I can live in a bigger, nicer house, have better weather, and my money's going to go farther. And all the food's organic, so I don't have to worry about paying extra for organic food or whatever it is their concern might be.
So they surveyed 2,100 expatriates. According to Greenback Expat Tax Services, which specializes in working with American taxpayers residing overseas, just 4 out of 10 of the respondents, or just over 4 out of 10, said that while they aren't planning to renounce their U.S. citizenship, they wouldn't rule it out. And 19% of them said they're seriously considering it. Half of those who are either planning or considering giving up their citizenship say the primary reason is the burden of U.S. tax rules.
Now, I have a friend who has given up his U.S. citizenship, and he gets to come back in the country. Many people think that, suddenly that means you just can't come back in the United States, and it doesn't mean that at all.
That just means you'd be a visiting alien or something like that, or whatever.
You're subject to whatever
legal status
rules and legal status that
you'd have to have
somebody who's not a citizen who's visiting
a visa.
Yeah,
right. You'd have to have a certain time limit.
It depends on where you're coming from as to whether or not you need a visa. Some countries don't need visas.
David McKeegan, the co-founder of Greenback Expat Tax Services, said,
one thing you interestingly can't do is claim to not be a citizen of any country. So you basically have to
have to be a citizen to person. Wasn't there a citizenless man that we talked to once upon a time?
Yes, well, he's a guy who claimed to not have citizenship. He claimed that no government had rulership over him, but he didn't file the paperwork with those governments. So the governments did not share his feelings.
Whatever happened to that dude?
I don't know.
What was his name? Michael Golsky or something like that?
Yeah.
Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Quote, tax requirements like the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, the FATCA, which was the thing we were talking about before, where they want to know if you have an account at other banks, and the report of foreign bank and financial accounts, which is FBAR, start to become more painful for people, and they write to their congressperson seeking action. But apparently, they haven't done anything for them, and these expats are frustrated. And are you frustrated? Have you left the United States? If so, what was your reason for it? Or are you considering leaving? Because, a lot of people always say this after an election. I'm going to leave, or Barack Obama got elected, or Donald Trump got elected. It's Free Talk Live.
Last week at Consensus 2017, a cryptocurrency conference in New York City, an agreement was made between 56 companies, representing 83% of the hashing power for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an international internet currency that has, of late, taken the tech world by storm. In the agreement, they pledged to implement segregated witness, a long-needed patch for the Bitcoin software, at 80% acceptance instead of 95%, and increase the Bitcoin block size, relieving pressure on the network and lowering prices for transactions. This compromise is supported by the former head developer of Bitcoin, Gavin Andreessen, and Bitcoin.com's Roger Ver, along with 83% of the Bitcoin miners. Some of the core developers and the influential organization Blockstream do not support it, however. Although the finish line is not yet crossed, it may be in sight, and we here at Free Talk Live, along with most of you, breathe a sigh of relief, hoping that this opens the door to the continuation of the most important piece of software since the internet. Find out more at Bitcoin.com.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by, making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a large portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-314-7417. 800-314-7417. That's 800-314-7417.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to may be even more nervous than you are. And the way things are now, your references have never been more important. Here are 3 tips. First, know that employers are checking. Every hire is under the microscope these days. Second, they won't just be checking references you provide. Figure that all of your ex-employers will get a call and be asked, would you hire him or her again? Third, assume you will be Googled. So before you apply, remove all those party animal photos from your Facebook page. Even if you're not in the job market, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us on the radio here. Our number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about expatriates, people who are, for whatever reason, many of them fed up with the United States in some way or another. Some, as you pointed out, Mark, they just want to go and live somewhere where their money runs, gets them more.
The United States is a great place to make money, but you and I went to Mexico not too long ago, and things are significantly less costly. Transportation's less costly, domiciles are less costly.
Yep,
and
that's true. And that was Acapulco.
Right, and that's a
tourist
resort
city.
town.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that I would just run off to the heart of wherever drug crime is, but by and large, tourists are left alone because they don't have any particular value in these turf wars that gangs have out in the hinterland.
So we're going to get into some of the numbers here. What are the expatriates having to deal with? What are these hassles that they're having to put up with? Because many of them are considering renouncing citizenship. So you can look at the expatriates as 2 distinct groups. There are, I'm sure you can break it down further, but there are at the very least those who have left and have renounced citizenship, and those who have left and are still dealing with the responsibilities, the burdens, the obligations of being a citizen.
I'm not sure you even count as an expatriate once you've given up citizenship. I mean,
well, I think
a lot of people might consider you that.
Yeah.
But I don't think...
you'll have to pull up the definition of expatriate. I'm pretty sure it's anybody who leaves their homeland for some significant period of time or indefinitely or something like that. But I don't have it in front of me. So we're going to continue with that here. You are welcome to comment as well and bring up anything that's on your mind. And wherever you are in the world, if you've got a bumper, you can slap a sticker on it and influence people as long as they can read it. So you can do that by going to libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people in a relatively short period of time if you drive around with bumper stickers. And you know that people love to read them. So check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic, liberty-oriented messages that you can stick on your car or binder or bike or wherever at libertystickers.com. Laptops, we like putting them on our laptops.
That's where I put mine. I do have a definition here for you. An
expatriate
is a person who temporarily or permanently is residing in a country other than that of their citizenship. So if you get citizenship in a new country, then you're no longer an expatriate of the United States.
It's interesting.
By that particular definition.
Yep.
Then again, words are defined in usage.
That's true.
And if people use it in that way, then you just gotta define your terms with people you're discussing.
Well, would that make you a patriot? If you're an expatriate?
I think it would make you an immigrant.
Okay. Because ex sounds like to leave. Patriate sounds like the place in which you would become patriotized or a patron or something like that.
I don't know why they use the term.
Curious to know the etymology of that.
To me, the term means that somebody who, more than temporary. I'm not talking like a vacation. You're going to live.
Well, they said reside. The word reside was in there.
Okay.
So let's go to Dunker. He's on the line with us here. Dunker calling from, I believe, Florida on Skype.
Yes. Hey, guys. I'm super excited to talk to you.
Hey, welcome to the show. You are one of our listeners who is a Free Talk Live amplifier, and you've mentioned recently that you've got a big plan ahead of you. What's going on?
Oh, I'm finally getting out of the state of Florida and coming home to New Hampshire to be with you guys.
Wow!
As part of the Shire Society.
Well, we can definitely relate, having also left the state of Florida. In our case, we left back in 2006. After having launched this show in 2002, we moved up here as part of the migration, that there are these active migrations of libertarians and voluntarists and liberty-loving anarchists, people that really care about freedom, who are picking up their lives and moving, sometimes as you are, across the country. Some just moving from, Massachusetts, so they don't have to go that far. But a lot of people moving from all around the country. In fact, as far away as Russia, I believe, is probably the longest distance somebody has moved to be here. And we've actually had a couple people move from Russia to come here and join the liberty movement.
Russia's a good place to leave.
Absolutely. And so is Florida. So congratulations to you, Dunker, for this.
We're having this conversation about expatriation. I don't hate Florida.
I don't either. It's beautiful.
Understood that there wasn't an opportunity to pursue what was important to me, which was the creation of a place where people could live more freely. Florida's, the population's growing all the time. The geriatrics that move there are constantly, making the laws so that they benefit them, as they, as people do. People vote their interests, right? So if you're going to move from New York or Illinois or something like that,
all the old status, moving from New York,
you're going to move down to Sarasota, Florida, and you're going to vote your interests. Well, those interests weren't my interests, and I decided to go elsewhere. I don't consider Florida to be awful or anything like that.
No, it's a fine place to visit, but if you want to see freedom in your lifetime, then Florida is not going to be that place. So what was it, Dunker, that what was kind of the clincher for you? Why did you decide to make this big move to join other libertarians in New Hampshire?
Well, I started listening to you guys when podcasts pretty much started out. That was back when Manwich was on the show. When you guys were on Florida. That's an old joke.
Yep.
People might not get.
That's you, Mark. You used to call yourself Manwich.
I did, yeah.
In the early days of this show.
And I about 5 years ago, I lost the right to drive, and I just kind of as a streak, I have a big stubborn streak, and I said, well, fine, I'm never going to drive again, fine. And so I've been riding my bicycle very regularly since then.
Yeah, we met you, I think, for the first time at the Coins in the Kingdom conference, which was a Bitcoin conference that was held in Orlando, and I don't think they've had another one since that first one.
No.
But you had ridden up the coast of Florida, because where are you from? Palm Beach, somewhere on the East Coast, I think it was?
Yes, East Coast, a little town called Sebastian.
Yep, okay, Sebastian, and I've actually been there once. And
as have I.
And you rode up the coast, a number of hours on a bike all the way up to Orlando. So you are definitely a serious bike rider, but you're about to set out on a pretty big journey. You're doing Florida to New Hampshire. How many miles is that? I'm sure you've calculated a route
out. According to Google Maps, it's just over 1,500 miles.
Wow. Because I know that took, when we drove up here back in 2006, it took about 26 hours, I think it was, and that was driving straight with only stopping for gas fill-ups and the occasional bite to eat, but that was just no sleep time. If you're going to sleep, you slept in the car as you switched off driving, so 26 hours straight. How long are you expecting this to take?
I can do about 100 miles a day, and at that pace, I should make it in about 2 weeks.
Sounds right.
Excellent. So you're planning on making it in time for the upcoming Somalia Fest at Rogers Campground. Is that right?
I might make it to Somalia Fest. I'm definitely making it to Pork Fest.
Okay, got it. Well, we'll hope to see you at Somalia Fest. I know that we're going to be there for at least a couple of days. We're not sure if we're staying for the whole thing or not. It depends on accommodations. But wow, what an exciting idea! This is very similar to what you might remember as the Walk for Liberty. Longtime listeners of the show may remember this. People have been paying attention to the Liberty movement in New Hampshire, where he was called Will Buchanan at the time, but he's now Will Anderson. Anyway, Will walked from Oregon, from the coast, all the way over to the seacoast of New Hampshire. And I don't remember how long that took, but it was a long time. But he, very, very similar. If you want to hang on a moment, Dunker, if you got time, we'll continue with a few more questions. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the air.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Talk Live.
I said he was working for criminals.
You called him a criminal, did you not?
No,
he might have just been a sucker.
He said he was working for liars and thieves and criminals. Isn't that what we would call politicians?
They've been crooked since the dawn of time.
Agreed. So let me ask you, what is somebody who takes money to kill at the behest of liars and thieves? What do you call that person? Because a veteran is the one who called in and boxed us in the corner on this in the past. I don't have an answer to that question. That sounds very nice, at least. Do you?
Truthfully, no, I really don't have an answer to that question except to say he was doing his job.
Well, I mean, that's what they said at the Nuremberg trials, right? We were just following orders.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa, hey.
Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this hospital.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget the road. Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
because you scared me.
Property,
What am I being
now.
detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
Like the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, live Saturday edition of the show. As always, you can join us right here. We got more to say about expatriation. That's coming up here in a moment. It's Ian and Mark in the studio. Tonight, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we're also part of, and we've talked about this for a long time on Free Talk Live, more than a decade, which is this movement of liberty-minded people, libertarians, voluntarists, people like that, who are migrating to New Hampshire. New Hampshire being the most free state already.
As rated by the Cato Institute in their most recent Freedom in the 50 States.
Right, and so it's a great destination.
And more than one time.
Yes, it's a great destination, a great starting point for a libertarian concentration movement.
Right, and if you've ever talked to a libertarian, it's likely one of the things you've said is either voiced a concern about without the government taking care of it, how would we have roads? Or you'd probably told them, if you don't like it here, move to Somalia. And that's the reason that we're going to have Somalia Fest here in New Hampshire in just 1 month away.
Yeah, and now Duggar is on the line here, calling us from Florida, the southeast portion of the state. He is getting ready to kick off a bike ride heading all the way up to New Hampshire, 1,500 miles. It's going to take approximately 2 weeks. He says he can do 100 miles a day. You're leaving from Sebastian. And when are you leaving? Is it tomorrow or tonight?
I'm leaving early in the morning, tomorrow morning, like 4 or 5.
So let's talk about what it's like to ride a long distance like this. Is this your longest ride that you will have ever accomplished?
Correct.
Okay, and prior to this, what's the longest one that you've done?
I went out to I'm relatively close to the headquarters for the Venus Project, and you guys have talked about it before.
That's the Marxism with robots thing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Wow.
It's
I didn't know they had a
little
headquarters.
nutty, but it's interesting.
I just thought it was a YouTube video.
It is interesting.
All right. So that's a whole other conversation. So anyway, so what was the longest ride?
On that trip, I did 100 miles out. First day was 100 miles. Second day was just over 30, and the third day was about 100 as well.
What was wrong the second day?
Oh, that was just from the hotel to the Venus Project headquarters.
Okay.
Now, so this is going to be a lot longer. So you're talking about 10, 15 times longer ride.
Oh, yeah.
I know that when Will Anderson was walking across the country as sort of almost a publicity stunt or personal accomplishment thing, it's kind of both simultaneously.
Both of those things.
And
at the same time.
I remember when he was doing that obviously you walk that far, you're going to burn a hole through some shoes. There's going to be some problems that come up. What is it that you foresee? I mean, besides a popped bike tire, what is it that is likely to occur as far as difficulties biking across that long distance?
Oh, bike problems are the biggest thing I've had in the past. I'm going to be prepared as much as I can. I'm carrying 4 extra inner tubes and a little bike repair kit, and
what else could you carry?
So what are you packing out? I mean, obviously, a lot of people when they move across the country or move anywhere, it's always a good idea to simplify. It's a good idea to sell down the crap that you have. Mark, unfortunately, didn't do this at all when he moved up here. But
I think normal people bring a U-Haul. Quit being
I think simplifying is a good idea anytime in life.
You threw away all your furniture.
And moving, because you can always get more furniture.
That's true.
Anyway, and moving is a good time and a good excuse to do that. Obviously, if you're on a bicycle, you have to. So what are you planning on, what are you packing out besides the bike repair stuff?
Yeah, just a backpack and a little dry bag, like those camping dry bags.
I don't know what that is. Is that something you store things in?
Yeah, they take them on sailboats too. The idea is you roll the top up and you clip it over and then it's airtight.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
And so wait, camping stuff too? Did you say?
No, I'm going to be staying in motels.
Okay, all right. So that lightens the load. It's going to increase the cost a little bit, but you'll lighten the load.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what about? I know that one thing that Will and others who have traveled across the country have found was the case was that people can be very generous. So you may want to consider Airbnb, for instance, or reaching out to libertarian communities in the cities that you're planning on going through. You might be able to crash on people's couches and save a lot of money that way.
I hadn't thought about that too much.
Yeah, something to consider there. And also, will you be doing any publicity for the ride besides calling Free Talk Live, which I appreciate. I'm glad you're calling because I think it's it's an exciting project.
It's also pretty easy.
Right.
Yeah, I have a website and Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff.
And what is the website?
It's dunkerbike.com.
Dunkerbike. So what are you going to be posting up there? Like blogs about here's what happened today. I got a pop tire. Somebody threatened me. Whatever. Ran over a squirrel. What will you be posting there?
Pretty much, yeah. I plan to each day will be a single post on the website, on Facebook and Twitter and Google and all that stuff. I'll be posting like as I take a picture, I'll post it right away. The website's going to be at the top of the page. There'll be a link to a map where people can follow me on my ride. I have an app on my phone that tracks my location in real time.
Oh wow, that's so cool!
And you can see exactly where I am on the map.
Yeah, we didn't have that back when Will Anderson walked across the country and actively updated map of exactly where you are, which is cool because that means that supporters can easily go out and and meet you if you are publicizing where you're going. And I know that if you look at the book, there's a great book called Peace Pilgrim that I read several years ago.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Fantastic book. It's she's a Quaker, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, and she walked about across the country multiple times.
Yeah, she gave up all her possessions. Just
Correct.
had an apron and
a toothbrush.
A toothbrush and some things she carried in her pockets, and that was life.
And she walked across the country with the understanding that there were probably, she didn't bring anything with her. She was hoping that she would just kind of figure it out on the way, that the universe would provide, if you will. And it did. Most every night she had a roof under which to sleep. She had food that had been, given to her. So sustenance.
Sometimes she slept under,
Very rare. Yeah. It was only a handful of times where she could not find, just sort of by the generosity of the people.
But if she went to other people's houses, she always did things at their house, like wash the dishes.
Oh, did she?
Did things to sort of make her, stay worthwhile to them.
But back then, she was getting a lot of publicity because, there wasn't that much in the news. We didn't have the Information Society. This was the 1950s, I believe, was when she was doing the bulk of her walking, if I'm recalling correctly. It was more than like a decade. She did it for a long time. And so she would get news coverage from newspapers and radio stations who were fascinated by the idea of this woman, just this lady.
It's still fascinating.
Yeah, walking from place to place as sort of her life. That's what she did. Spreading her message of peace. And so it would be interesting. I don't know if you've thought about doing this, but if you're going to be too busy, obviously if you're on a bike, it's going to be hard to accomplish, but maybe somebody out there who wants to assist could assist. But contacting media in the cities in which you're going to be arriving, giving them a heads up that, hey, I'm traveling across the country and I'm coming through, Charleston, South Carolina, or whatever. And so you call the TV station, you call the newspaper, you call the talk radio stations there, and you just kind of pitch the idea and you see if you can stir up any interest, which would do a lot to drive traffic to your website and ultimately give you the opportunity to talk about why you're moving to New Hampshire in all of those media and really, publicize this beyond the libertarian community. So I'd like to suggest that to you if you haven't thought about it.
Right. It's something to think about, sure. I'll probably try that at some point.
Cool. Well, let us know how it goes, will you? I mean, as you're going throughout the ride. It doesn't have to be every day if you don't feel like it, but just whenever you've got an update worth sharing with our audience,
I have
free.
one other question.
Yeah.
Is there a bike path you intend to take, or is this going to be all on the road?
It's going to be highways.
Okay. Like U.S. highways, not interstates, right?
Interstates, it's usually illegal to ride a bicycle.
That's what my thought was.
Right. U.S. 1 is the main road I'm going to be taking.
It's a pretty busy road in a lot of locations. Please
Very
be careful out there.
exciting.
Thank you.
I hear you're coming up to join us in the Keene area, which is even better, of course. And but either way, anywhere you end up in New Hampshire, it's going to be, I think, spectacular. And you'll be surrounded by natives who love liberty and a bunch of people like us who've moved here for more freedom. And Dunker, ride safe. We'll look forward to hearing from you again.
Thanks.
Yep, that's dunkerbike.com.
If
We're
you
coming up.
recently declared bankruptcy, you're going to want to cover your ears. Because there's an alternative to bankruptcy, and it could be better than you'd ever think possible. But if you've already declared bankruptcy and have missed this opportunity, you'll want to cover your ears now. Here it is. Right now, the company that has resolved more credit card debt than anyone in the U.S. may be able to settle your debt too. You could resolve your debt with one low monthly program payment. If you call right now and qualify, Freedom Debt Relief will show you how low your monthly program payment could be for free. Call now, 1-800-660-1581. That's 1-800-660-1581. If you're struggling with debt, this could be your answer. And the bigger your debt, the more money you could save. To find out for free how much of your hard-earned money Freedom Debt Relief could help you save, call now. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Angioprim can unclog blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is oral chelation. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. Just log on to angioprim.com. That's Angioprim, A-N-G-I-O-P-R-I-M, angioprim.com. Angioprim users say they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on to angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better, having fun, and doing more again. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221. Or log on for complete information. Angioprim.com. That's angioprim.com. Find out how Angioprim can work for you. Get the facts about Angioprim at angioprim.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And we've got Skype. So Skype on in here just like Dunker did. You'll sound pretty great. The Skype username is lrn.fm.
Likely, you've heard the news stories about how Obamacare is driving up costs of insurance around the country, making it difficult for people to get coverage. Well, it's pretty obvious that healthcare is messed up here in the United States, but there is a company that will offer you freedom from health insurance. Instead of treating sickness, they'll give you incentives for being healthy. It's called healthexcellenceselect.com. They give you a proactive health assessment daily. No charge, 24-hour access to doctors. Where are you going to get that? 24-hour access to doctors. A medical information card that has all your information on it so that, how hard it is for doctors because of HIPAA to be able to know what the other doctor's doing, that kind of thing. You can have a card with all your medical information on it right there to give to whatever medical professional you want. They can scan it and have your files right in front of them. You can check them out right now, healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor. Traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, massage, healthexcellenceselect.com. And the costs, it's a huge savings. Last I checked, a family could get coverage of less than $600 a month. Health Excellence. I said coverage. That's not the right term. They can, since they're a health savings organization.
I thought it was health sharing.
Health sharing. I'm sorry, health sharing organization. Coverage isn't a term I can use. So,
okay.
healthexcellenceselect.com. You'll love the service and the price. Healthexcellenceselect.com.
All right, so we were just talking with Dunker, who is getting ready to kick off bright and early tomorrow morning. He's going to bed right now. He just told me on Skype.
If you're rising with the sun, you need to you need to set with it too.
Yep. So he's getting ready for launching a bike ride, a 1,500-mile bike ride from Florida to New Hampshire. Very exciting. I'm so glad that we've got such a group of hardcore liberty-minded people that are coming here. This is just beginning. I understand people have been listening to this show for a long time. You know that this migration has been happening for a decade, but it's really only just now picking up speed because for the first 10 years it was kind of with the Free State Project, which was one of the other active migrations that's drawing a lot of people here. They were trying to garner a bunch of signatures of people who were willing to move here, and it took them a good decade plus to accomplish that signature gathering. So a lot of those people are supposedly planning a move, and many of them are families, and they got to sell a house and pack up a business and things like that. And it takes time, but that Dunker's a great example of the level of commitment that these people who are coming here have. This isn't just your average libertarian. This is somebody who is really dedicated to the ideas of liberty so much that they're going to pick up their lives and move across the country. Now, not everybody's going to go on a bike ride across the country, but it's still pretty big.
Good publicity, though.
It's still a pretty big deal to just drive across the country or fly or whatever, to move your life from one point to another for political reasons is something that most people will never do in their lifetime. They'll move for a job. They'll move for family, but they won't move for ideology.
A lot of times jobs will grow where the politics is good for job growth. So you kind of call that moving for politics, but it's certainly not the same thing.
That's not what motivates somebody.
No.
Somebody who's motivated by money or family.
Yeah, or possible love interest. That might be another reason that people might move.
Okay, sure. That's another way to look at family.
Almost family, yeah.
So toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. If you want to check out, he mentioned the Shire Society. If you want to check out more about that, you can go to shiresociety.com. There's a declaration that you can sign there. It's basically like a personal declaration of independence. And then there's also a section of the site that talks about moving to New Hampshire, because if you want to have more freedom in your lifetime, then it makes sense to combine your efforts with other people who think like you do. So again, ShireSociety.com. There's even a forum there that there's a Free Talk Live subsection. It was actually Dunker was the first person who posted on the Free Talk Live subforum there over at forum.shiresociety.com. So feel free to join the conversation. You can reach out to him directly there, or again over at his website, dunkerbike.com, where he's kicking off the ride early tomorrow morning. Let's go to your calls and continue here. Let's go to Stefan in Ohio. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Stefan.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
I'd like to discuss, because you guys are talking about New Hampshire migration, and I took a look at the Free State Project, which obviously you're familiar with, how 20,000 people have apparently pledged to move to New Hampshire, correct?
That's right, yeah.
And
20,000 libertarians, volunteers.
20,000 libertarians.
Yeah, people who love freedom.
Okay, and do you know how many of these people have actually moved? Are there any numbers? Like, is this
the Free State Project does they do their best to track that information. It does obviously require self-reporting on the person who's moving. So if the person never reports, that they've moved, they may have moved, they may not have. It just depends on what level of contact that
they may have left and never reported that either.
That's true, or died and not reported that either. So
about 2,500 is the answer as to how many people.
Is it already up to 25? Because like a year ago it was around 2,000 or 2,100.
I can check the numbers. I know they have them hidden on their site now.
Yeah, so they have been tracking that. So prior to them reaching their 20,000 goal, it was at approximately 2,000, which I believe also included the people who were already living here, and there were about 270 of those when the Free State Project selected New Hampshire as its destination. So I'd say it's safe to say at minimum 2,000 have moved, but again, some of those people have left, so how many, and some have died, so how many of them are still here? I would bet, at least 1,000 plus.
Well, the reason I wanted to discuss this was I keep hearing about this, and the goal is to achieve liberty within our lifetime. However, I don't understand how moving to the state of New Hampshire would help at all. I mean,
why not? What is confusing about it to you?
Well, the question is, how many people in New Hampshire really care?
That people are moving, or care about what?
I mean, you have 25 people who have moved. New Hampshire, from what I am reading here, has... Okay,
it looks like 2,000 movers
difference.
And 2,600 people who are called Friends of the Free State Project, making the total something like 4,600 people in state.
Well, there are well over 1 million people in New Hampshire, and I don't know if the majority of people in New Hampshire are even aware of this kind of a movement.
They don't need to be.
Yeah, so really, when you look at elections, right, very few people vote in local and state level elections.
10% is considered a good turnout
in most places.
Yeah.
And so of those 10%, how many people are truly informed?
Good question.
Right, like you got
1%.
You got to presume
2.
You presume
3?
half of them have some level of information above that, and then of those people that are informed, how many of them are actually active? Because the only people you can vote for are the people that are on the ballot.
Now you're talking about a percentage of a percentage.
Right. The people who got on the ballot, the people who are active, the people who are participating in local government and state government, and those people are nigh zero. The numbers I've heard are there's about 500 Democratic activists in the state, about 500 Republican activists, and about 5 people that you could sort of loosely call libertarian activists. So therefore, libertarians have a seat at the table that is about equal to the share of those other groups. From an activist
standpoint. I mean, as far as the political success is concerned, libertarians actually have a seat at the table, not equal to the other groups, but we've gotten a good foothold in there with actual principled libertarians sitting in office as Democrats and Republicans, not just at the state representatives level, but there was I can't say where it was, but there is a police chief in New Hampshire somewhere who was recently brought on board, as I understand it, who's a Free State Project participant. So we've got people that are, that are getting involved at all levels of the political process here and having success.
Involvement's the right term. So you're not going to come to New Hampshire, climb Mount Washington, fly, pull your pants down around your ankles and fly a skull and crossbones flag over your head and say, "I claim New Hampshire for the libertarians. All you people will obey us. There's no taking over a state when you're talking about 20,000 people wresting control from 1.4 million. But you, Stefan, you're familiar that it's a small group of people that rule a large group of people in any geopolitical landmass, right?
Of course.
There you go. So all you have to do is use their process.
But how is this movement going to achieve liberty within our lifetime in New Hampshire? What are these people actually doing?
Well, that's the thing. Everybody does their own thing, and we can talk more about it if you want to stand by. It's one of our favorite topics. Obviously, we moved here, picked up our lives, and moved here. It's not just about moving. It's about getting active once you get here and doing whatever it is that you feel called to do to advance liberty. And there's a lot of different ways that one can do that stuff. 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number, 855-450-3733. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, June 3rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,279 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.9 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,522. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon continues to offer official civilian death tolls from the U.S. air war in Iraq and Syria that is only a tiny fraction of the killings documented by private non-government organizations, but even this deliberate undercount is rising at a growing rate, reflecting what is in reality a precipitous spike in civilian deaths. The last report from early May only confirmed 23 civilians killed in the entire first quarter of 2017. That's been revised upwards to 128 as the Pentagon finally admitted to killing 105 civilians in a March 17th incident in Mosul. All indications from independent sources are that the Mosul incident actually killed around 220 people. The Pentagon added another 27 civilian deaths in their new report, which includes April, with almost all of those deaths also happening in Mosul. This once again is far below the many hundreds reported killed everywhere else, but dramatically more than the single-digit monthly tolls they usually admit to. This increase thus really isn't so much them getting closer to being honest most about the toll since they were virtually obliged to finally include the Mosul death toll after publicly admitting to it, but the fact that even their fake numbers are spiking suggests they are at least aware of the trend. Many figures will be particularly important as there were multiple huge incidents of civilian deaths in both Iraq and Syria attributed to U.S. airstrikes, with hundreds being killed on a weekly basis in the air war. It will be increasingly difficult for the Pentagon to keep its false figures low enough to brag about how careful they are about civilian deaths. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Office of Government Ethics is asking the White House to clarify a number of procedural waivers it granted to staffers amid questions about whether President Donald Trump's administration may have violated federal ethics rules. OGE Director Walter Schaub Jr. said on Friday his office will seek more information about 10 of the 14 conflict of interest waivers the White House disclosed this week that enabled executive staff members to interact with former employers and clients after they took office. The OGE is interested in the 10 waivers because they were undated and unsigned, meaning they could have been issued retroactively and not approved beforehand by White House lawyers. White House counsel wrote in one of the waivers, "I am issuing this memorandum retroactive to January 20th, 2017. In a report by the New York Times, Schaub said there's no such thing as a retroactive waiver. If you need a retroactive waiver, you have violated the rules. Among the White House's 14 ethics waivers was a blanket release that permitted appointees to communicate with news organizations about policy matters after Trump took office, which critics say could be an after-the-fact effort to clear senior advisor and former Breitbart news chief Steve Bannon of interactions he purportedly had with his former news outlet after January 20th. Trump previously had Bannon sign an ethics pledge that barred him from interacting with Breitbart for 2 years. Other administration members also signed the pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports 3 former Pennsylvania State University officials were sentenced to jail on Friday for covering up ex-coach Jerry Sandusky's sexual predation and effectively letting him victimize more boys. In sentencing all 3 men for child endangerment, Judge John Bocabella in Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas also harshly criticized the late revered football coach Joe Paterno for failing to alert authorities. Former university president Graham Spanier, former athletic director Timothy Curley, and former vice president Gary Schultz were accused of covering up a 2001 complaint filed by then grad student Michael McQueary. Sandusky is serving 30 to 60 years in prison after he was convicted in 2012 of sexually abusing 10 boys over a 15-year period. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
From that romantic summer evening in 1924 when Pol Pot was conceived, to the first time someone figured out how to eat a pineapple without ripping their mouth to shreds. This week in history, 1692, 5 citizens were executed after being convicted during the Salem witch trials, all while dozens of witches, warlocks, and sorcerers stood by and watched the wrongly accused take the rap for them, while the perfectly normal humans charged with witchcraft were publicly hung and dragged to their unmarked graves. The numerous Salem citizens that did spend their evenings casting spells and awakening the dead merely lowered their heads as their friends and neighbors were burned at the stake.
Historical records have indicated that as many as 35% of the people in Salem were actually witches and warlocks. In fact, the executioner himself was a well-known necromancer who, after hanging the wrongly accused witches, reanimated their dead bodies and apologized before casting them into the eternal fires of hell.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live Saturday edition. We launch into hour number 2, and of course you can bring up anything that you want. We started out the show talking about expatriates, and a number of them, about just over 4 out of 10, say that they wouldn't rule out renouncing their citizenship, and about 19% of them said they're seriously considering it.
And now an expatriate is a person who has, in this case, left the United States.
And residing elsewhere.
Yeah, resides elsewhere.
And so we'll talk more about exactly what frustrations they're facing from the federal government, who continue, even though you've left the country, if you don't renounce citizenship, the federal government continues to believe that you want to pay them income tax and other taxes. So we'll give you a quick rundown of exactly what are some of the hassles they have to deal with and why they're considering renouncing citizenship. That's on the way, and of course you can share your thoughts with us. Plus, United Airlines is now ending flights to Venezuela, and interesting news for Bitcoin out of Japan, where Japanese housewives are becoming attracted to Bitcoin, interestingly. So we can get into all that if we get the chance, but your calls and thoughts come first. And what we've been talking about, and what actually started the conversation in the last hour, in case you're just tuning in, one of our listeners from Florida, Dunker, who lives on the east coast of Florida, is going to be hitting the road tomorrow morning. His website, dunkerbike.com, where he will be cataloging or blogging on the road as he bicycles from South Florida to New Hampshire. A 1,500-mile ride that he's kicking off early tomorrow morning led to the discussion about this migration of libertarians, voluntarists, liberty-loving anarchists who are moving to New Hampshire, and they're getting active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. And Stefan is on the line in Ohio. He'd called with what sounds like some confusion about this, and I guess I'm surprised, Stefan, that given the amount that we've talked about this movement, that you hadn't really picked up on exactly how this is going to work. And basically, it is an activist movement. So it would be nice if people just moved here because it's a great place to live and already the freest place. So you immediately get a freedom increase in in a lot of ways by just moving to New Hampshire. But that doesn't work on increasing the freedom threshold, if you will. It doesn't work just moving and doing nothing wouldn't really do a whole lot to achieve liberty in our lifetime. So the activism component is the most important part. And every individual has their own ideas as to what is activism and what is the activism that is attractive to them. In fact, a lot of people, honestly, don't even know the answer to that question when they move here. Many of the people, and I know this from asking folks, because usually if somebody comes up here, we'll do a meet and greet. Like if somebody's coming up to visit New Hampshire and they're coming to Keene, and they let us know. Like a great way to do this, by the way, is to go to forum.shiresociety.com, post your introduction, and you'll get approved for access to the forum. And then you can let us know, hey, we're coming up to visit in July on this date, and we'll put together a meet and greet. So we frequently are meeting with people that are coming up here. And always like to just ask, hey, what kind of activism is attractive to you? What is it that's interesting to you? Because there's everything from political activism at the state house to running for office locally in a town to getting active within the political parties to try to mold them in a more freedom-friendly direction, to more exciting activism like civil disobedience that happens every now and then because again it's a little more risky, so not as many people want to do that. There's creating media. There's working behind the scenes on stuff like writing letters to the editor. There's working on a website as a web designer. I mean, there's just so much that people can be attracted to. But a lot of the people who move here, they honestly don't really know because they've never really done activism before. There are the people like me who have done activism before and have a lot of activist experience under their belt, like Daryl and myself and Roger Paxton from the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. These guys moved up from the South as I did and Mark did. So it just depends, but ultimately having thousands of libertarians who are willing to be active, whether they know exactly what they want to do or not, because you'll figure it out. If you try different stuff when you get up here, whatever sounds attractive to you.
Something will stick at some point,
yeah,
right?
You get involved in it. You'll find a good crowd of people that you like. You'll find an action that is that you feel is effective and important, or an issue that you want to focus on, and you'll do that. So it's that decentralized motion, that momentum that we have that isn't being directed by anyone. And this is one of the things that is the most confusing to the opposition up here. There was a recent meeting that they held out on the seacoast that like a leftist group called Granite State Progress held. They do this like once a year where they just sort of they're trying to kind of out the Free State Project and talk about how terrible it is because it wants to get rid of government involvement in our lives.
Which is fascinating to me that a bunch of Democrats want to get rid of libertarians when they disagree with libertarians about 70% of the time and Republicans about 100% of the time.
Yeah, but we're the threat to the state.
That's the truth.
Yeah,
right?
So,
like that it reveals who's the statist and who's the liberty lover.
Right, and the reason why they're having these seminars is because they are afraid. If we were like the libertarians in Ohio or all the other states, then they wouldn't have any seminars about us. Have you ever heard of that happening there in Ohio? Has there ever been a let's out the libertarians and talk about how dangerous and terrifying they are? Have there ever been?
We've never had any sort of opposition because we just don't know how to organize. The thing is, my local county coordinator, Dan Hines, he wants to have meetings, but nobody ever shows up to them.
Yes.
Yep.
And
relevance is an issue.
But what I'd like to address is
Dan should move up here, and then he can show up at already existing meetings.
Well, that's what I was going to point out. Some would argue that just leaving everything behind from hundreds or even thousands of miles, their families, their friends, just to go to New Hampshire to see liberty in their lifetime, some people would say that is the activism.
Sure.
Not really.
But some people see it that way. Some people pick up and move their lives, and that's the last you hear from them. They may not even...
That doesn't mean they're not doing activism, Mark. Just because you don't hear from them. You don't know who all the 2,000 people are who moved here. You have no idea. If you would walk by half of them at the county fair, you'd have no clue.
Ian proposes that anyone who moves must be doing activism behind the scenes, and I propose that it's likely that you would, if they were active, you would notice in some way, shape, or form.
No, you wouldn't.
At some point.
How would you possibly know if somebody is over in the Lakes region and you live in Cheshire County doing local political activism in the Lakes region? They're going to the Republican or Democrat meetings or the Libertarian Party out there, and they're getting involved out there. How the hell would that ever come across your radar?
The Lakes meeting libertarians would know because they were watching.
Are you one of them?
No, I'm
not.
Then how would
it ever come across your radar?
I'm telling you, all I'm claiming is that some people move and do nothing more than move.
I believe that that's true.
Okay, good.
But you
then
seem
what
to
are you
think
arguing about?
You seem to think it's like a supermajority of those people simply because you aren't aware. Mark Edge's awareness of what someone else is doing has no bearing whatsoever on what that person is doing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What I'd like to say, furthering upon that, well, what if you already said New Hampshire is the freest state in the entire country?
According to the Freedom in the 50 States study that came out from 2016, so the most recent one.
Well, what if somebody just doesn't care? They think, I want freedom for me. I want to move to the woods. I want to shoot my guns all day, and I want people to leave me the heck alone. Is that not a form of activism in of itself because they left everything behind?
No, by definition, activism is trying to affect social change. It's trying to affect change on society that affects society. So there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. Like, if somebody wants to move to New Hampshire to shoot guns and live by themselves in the woods, I say welcome. Come on up. Because eventually the government's going to come after you and try to collect property taxes, and then maybe you're going to get mad about that and decide to do something, and at the very least then you'll be around other freedom-minded people and you'll be living more free to begin with because you're in New Hampshire. So I would not poo-poo someone who wants to do that. By all means, if you're a libertarian and you want to live more free and that's all, this is still the right place to do that. There's no doubt about it. There's a community of people here. Even if you're completely antisocial, it's still a great place to live more free, period. But that's not activism.
Sorry for interrupting, but it seems to me from my experience speaking to people around here, because you had talked about how people just can't come together, I think a lot of people are just afraid, because when I speak to a lot of people here in Ohio, it seems like they agree with the libertarian message, they agree with the state getting the heck out of our lives, but, they look at the people online who get arrested for civil disobedience, and they think, well, I can't do that, I'm a little too scared, and I think that's the real problem.
Let's talk about that. I think that's important. You bring up a good issue. Thank you for the call, Stefan. There's more on the way here on Free Talk Live. Let's talk about fear. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-958-9256. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-958-9256. Call 1-800-958-9256. 1-800-958-9256.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in, toll free, and bring up whatever you want. The number here is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And want to also let you know about Jaxx. It is the official wallet of Free Talk Live. JAXX.io is where you go to download either the phone version for your Google or your Apple phone, or you can get it for Windows or Mac or Linux. You can even get browser plug-in versions for Chrome and Firefox. All of it's free, and it allows you to hold on to cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ether, Dash, and a bunch more. You go to jaxx.io, jaxx.io. It's, by the way, got shapeshift integration in it, which is a very unique feature for Jaxx, which allows you to actually change from one cryptocurrency into another. So if you have Bitcoin, but you are pretty excited about Ethereum and you don't have any of that yet, you want to get some of it, you can just use the shapeshift feature to shift from one to another. So go to jaxx.io. It was created by Anthony DeOrio, who is the creator of the Crypto Kit, and he made it easy to back up your wallet and recover your funds with Jaxx. Jaxx is striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, currencies, contracts, identity, and more. Your digital command center in the palm of your hand. It's Jaxx, the official wallet of Free Talk Live at jaxx.io. As we're going to go back to your calls here in a moment, I just want to comment briefly on what our last caller had brought up. We were talking about this migration of libertarians and voluntarists moving to New Hampshire, getting active to achieve liberty in our lifetime, and the different types of activism that are going on. Some are not as visible as others, Mark, and they wouldn't necessarily come across your purview if they were doing them. But one of the objections that was brought up by our caller, Stephan in Ohio, was that when he talks to people in Ohio, he says a lot of them seem to agree with libertarianism, but they are afraid of stepping out and being seen and being possibly targeted by the government, which is true. A lot of people are legitimately, I would say, afraid of the government. This is why people pay taxes. I mean, most people are grumbling and upset when they pay taxes. They are mad if they have to cut a check. It doesn't feel good because they know that at some level, if they don't, they're going to get hurt.
They have to throw people in jail for not paying taxes is because if they didn't throw people in jail and confiscate their homes, then people wouldn't pay. I mean,
if there were no consequences.
Right,
yeah.
If there were no consequences for giving money to the most inefficient organizational model on the planet, that costs, in many cases, 7 times as much to do something as regular organizational models, then why the hell would you do it?
Exactly. And so people are afraid, not just whether they've seen, Victimless Crime Spree or not and watched people doing civil disobedience, and I would say most people haven't seen that movie and aren't particularly aware that there even is civil disobedience within the liberty community. They're just afraid of sticking their head above the waves. They're afraid of just getting involved in the political system. And I don't blame anybody for that. We've seen plenty of examples of Sue Jeffers, I think was her name, the restaurateur in was it Minneapolis? I think it was Minneapolis. Sue Jeffers, who is actually a radio host on a former Clear Channel station up there now, but she made the news years ago. She was a libertarian and a restaurateur who decided to run, I believe it was for governor, as a libertarian. And what do you know? Code enforcement shows up at her restaurant for the first time in forever and decides to cite her with a number of different violations that she'd never been cited with in the past. Was that a coincidence? Or did somebody with some political sway decide to send, the goons against this relatively well-known libertarian? Most places, libertarians, nobody cares if the libertarians run. But this lady, I believe, had some level of renown in the area. Mm-hmm. That's why she's on the radio now. But, they targeted her. And she's not the only person who has been targeted for being, at least having the potential of being able to change the system. So I get it, and I've seen it around here too. I remember going to the bank once a few years ago, and a gentleman recognized me. Hey, are you Ian Freeman? And I'm like, yeah. Hey, what's your name? And he told me who he was, and he was a local electrician, and I won't say more than that. But he indicated that he made it clear that he fully supported what we were doing here, the activism that we've been known for out here in Keene, which has been a little more radical, if you will, a little more publicity generating, controversial. And he said that he fully supports us. He said he wishes he could get involved, but he's honestly afraid to. Because he's got to do business in this town.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be pretty darn difficult to do business in town if people hate you because of your activism.
And a business owner wants to be liked by everyone, generally. They want people to come into their business, and so therefore they try to please everybody.
Yeah.
And so he just didn't feel like he was in a position where he could do anything. He can go and vote. because that's anonymous. You can't be punished by the local haters if you just go and vote for a Libertarian on the ballot. And so, again, everybody's got their level of comfort with activism. Most people aren't willing to do it. Probably 99% of people aren't willing to ever lift a finger besides to go and vote and do any kind of publicity-generating activism that could possibly change things. So that's okay. We understand that. That's why we're trying to recruit the best activists to come to New Hampshire. And it seems so obvious to me that concentrating activism works. But I guess there are still a lot of people out there that question the effectiveness. If you're questioning the effectiveness of concentrating activism, I would like you to take an hour out of your time, not right now because you're listening to Free Talk Live, but at a later time, take an hour out of your time and go and watch the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. 101reasonsfilm.com. It's an hour-long documentary, and it just burns through 101 killer reasons why this is the best place to be already for libertarians. And it's only going to get better as thousands more of them move here and we get a greater and greater, more effective community.
I have a rebuttal to that. You've suggested this is the best place to be for libertarians, but Stefan asked that people wanted to live free. Now, living free means something different to different people. Like if weather is important to you, then maybe New Hampshire's not the place for you. If snow skiing is, maybe it is. So there's a variety of things that people want. If you don't want to be an activist, if you don't want to participate in the political process or get tossed in jail for liberty or whatever it is that you want, then maybe New Hampshire isn't the place for you. I'm only saying that...
Yeah, I'm only talking to the people who value liberty more so than pretty much everything else. If you value a career, if you value weather, if you value, stability and staying in one place and the family, then, you don't qualify to move to New Hampshire. So anyway, let's go to your calls and thoughts. Rusty is in Atlanta. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to say God bless you both. You guys are running a great show here. And also this smut on the YouTube chat comments, that doesn't stand for me.
Oh, yeah. There's generally some very rude people on the YouTube chat
That's YouTube
comments.
for you. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a comment about Trump, more of a concern, actually.
Okay, sure.
Trump fucked me in the butt.
No, you can't say that on the radio. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733.
We have never, ever had anybody attempt to get on the air and use the F-bomb. Never. That's never happened to us. Come on. This is a professional radio program, guys.
Well, I mean, it's very exciting, Mark, to get on the...
To get dumped?
Well, he's not dumped from the internet feed. All his YouTube buddies can hear that. You can get on the internet
and yell the F-bomb all you want. That's what it's for.
All 17 people watching on YouTube just heard him say that.
Whoopee!
855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can take control of the airwaves here. Unless you say the F word or the S word or whatever, then we have to dump you.
Do you know what's lurking in your water? More than 200 contaminants could be sitting there, just waiting for your glass. With a ProPure water filter, start enjoying clean and great-tasting water today. ProPure filters, independently tested, latest water filter technology. ProPure systems do not require electricity and are easy to set up and easy to use. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Lifetime Graze 100% grass-fed beef has the health benefits you seek. When compared to conventional beef, it offers good fats while virtually eliminating the bad. That's the result of cattle who never eat grain, ever. Rich in antioxidants, including vitamin E, C, beta-carotene, and CLA. No artificial hormones, antibiotics, or other drugs. For all our fresh, non-cooked products with only 100% grass-fed beef, go to MidasResources.com. Use voucher code GCN to get 30% off your order. MidasResources.com or find us on Facebook.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your AMP will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. Coincap.io. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition. You can dial on in toll-free and join us on the radio waves. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. You know what? I think everybody loves steak, but dads are particularly known for loving steak.
It's all we've got left.
That's all who's got left?
Dads.
Oh.
That's all we got left.
You, as in you are a dad.
That's correct.
Gotcha. So if you're trying to find the perfect gift for Father's Day, then you really ought to look at Omaha Steaks. We just had delivered, I think it was, 2 weeks ago, a week or so ago, we had their special Father's Day package at Omaha Steaks delivered here. Mark, you got one. I got one. I think Daryl got one as well. So we are loaded up here at the Free Talk Live studio with all kinds of stuff. Let me tell you what they're going to include for $49.99. That is the price of this Father's Day package, limited time offer. So if you want to get this for Dad, or if you want to just get it for you and your family, you can do that. They don't know who you're ordering it for. It's just their Father's Day special. You go to omahasteaks.com. You type in FTL, like Free Talk Live, code FTL in the search bar, and that'll give you access to the following. Here's what you get in this big cooler that will show up on your doorstep. 2 tender, mild filet mignons, 2 bold, beefy top sirloins, 4 crispy chicken fried steaks, 4 juicy boneless pork chops.
I just had those today. The
chops?
Yeah, the chops. Yeah.
I've had the chicken fried steaks already, and they were fantastic. 4 all-beef Omaha steak burgers, 4 award-winning gourmet jumbo franks, 12 ounces of all-beef meatballs, 1 pound of steakhouse fries, 4 made-from-scratch caramel apple tartlets.
Love those things.
And 1 Omaha Steak seasoning packet. Plus, they'll throw in 4 additional burgers for free when you go to omahasteaks.com. You type in FTL, like Free Talk Live, in the search bar to get the special deal. Why Omaha Steaks? Well, they get the highest quality cuts one-of-a-kind flavor. It's super convenient because you don't have to go anywhere, and you get a great deal. All of their beef, of course, is USDA inspected for quality and exceeds their standards. It's aged for 21 days to unlock the full flavors of the cuts, hand-trimmed and vacuum-sealed. And, of course, online support with recipes, wine pairings, and more. And they got more, obviously, than just this Father's Day package. This is just the special that gets you 80% off of these items. You can also order bison from the Golden Plains, seafood, poultry, pork, veal, lamb, and even vegetables. So plenty of options over there at omahasteaks.com. We loved the Omaha Steaks variety pack that we got last year when they advertised with us, and now they're back, so I'm glad to see that. That means that people responded.
Turns out our audience is not a bunch of vegetarians. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, well, they do have vegetables here, but I imagine that's a relatively small portion of their inventory. They list that they have vegetables, Mark. I haven't gone to browse their vegetables section.
I wonder if my wife just snuck those in on me.
So
we did. I didn't know that they were part of the deal.
They're not part of the Omaha Steaks Father's Day deal, Mark. I went through the list of what's included in that, and that was all meat and some French fries.
I thought you were calling potatoes vegetables, at which point I was prepared to correct you.
No, I was just saying that they supposedly have vegetables. Honestly, though, I haven't looked at the veggies section of their site. But they are named Omaha Steaks, so you should expect lots of meat and lots of really good meat. omahasteaks.com. Don't forget to type in FTL in the search bar. That way they know that we sent you there, because you're going to hear these Omaha Steaks ads all over the radio, for instance, on different shows.
It's true.
So if you want Free Talk Live to get credit, type in FTL in the search bar before you add anything to your cart. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We've got Hudson. He's calling from South Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Hudson, you're listening in Myrtle Beach to WRNN.
Hi. My main reason for calling was to just kind of thank you guys for doing what you do. I'm just a 16-year-old high school student, and I have certain beliefs. And for the longest time, I was afraid to express those beliefs publicly in fear of being, ridiculed and judged by my peers and teachers and even my own family. And after listening to y'all's show for the time that I've been listening to it, it just kind of really helps me hearing y'all talk about the issues that y'all talk about. It helps me kind of just be able to express the same issues that I feel is going on. So my main reason for calling was to just thank you guys.
Well, that's awfully nice of you. I appreciate that. So did you find us on the radio down there? How did you come across Free Talk Live?
I actually did find y'all on the radio. I'm in my car quite often. I have to be for the work that I do. And every time I hear y'all on, I just tune in and listen.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that. And, if that's something that we can do is give people some talking points to better be able to express the ideas of freedom, I think that's a valuable service, and I'm grateful that you're out there. Anything else you want to share, Hudson?
No, that's about it. I just wanted to say thank you guys.
Thanks for the call.
You're really doing a great thing.
All right. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733.
That was nice.
Let's go to an accolade, appreciation it's always nice
as long as it's brief.
Yeah, keeping it short, and he did. He kept it short. So thank you for that. We do tend to prefer to talk about issues with folks, but I'm glad that people appreciate hearing the alternative perspectives that they hear on this show. It is an open phones discussion, and we're always welcome to especially to hear people who disagree with us, because that's really how you grow. Is you hear and you listen to people who have a viewpoint that is not the same as yours, and really kind of look at their opinion and consider it and think about whether or not you might possibly agree and why you disagree, and hear that stuff out. That's one of the things that we do well here on this program is we give everybody the opportunity to speak. So let's continue. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. We got Jim. He's calling us from Arab, Alabama, watching on YouTube at cam.freetalklive.com. Hello, Jim.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, you're on the radio. Don't even know what that was, but at least I didn't have to dump it, because I don't think that anything identifiable came out of his mouth in that case. We've had a few folks on YouTube calling recently with some pretty awful crank calls. I mean, we've had a bunch of crank calls over the decade plus that we've been doing.
Thank you for the calls, but young men, if you just call to scream at obscenity on the radio, you're going to fail. It is our job as professional broadcasters to protect the licenses of 160 FCC licensed radio stations, and we will dump your dumb, pimply butt.
It's the least favorite part of my job. I mean, I don't like protecting licenses.
If you want to make a crank call, by all means, please crank us. We are fine with it.
Just be creative.
Yeah, right.
Have fun with it.
Rub a second brain cell against that first one and come up with something besides the F-bomb,
You know,
boys.
back in probably your day as well, but Mark, I mean, what young man hasn't made a crank phone call at some point?
You know, is the refrigerator
running? Yes, that's
you got
what I was
King
thinking.
Prince Edward in a can. I mean, anything, guys. I mean, if you at least reference an old crank call,
That's
you'll
even
get
better.
a chuckle
Yeah.
from the old guys.
That's true.
Anything but screaming some obscenity and hanging up on yourself.
Let's go to Dave. He's in Los Angeles. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave. Also watching on YouTube.
Hello, guys. Hey, and I've been listening to you guys now for about 7 years, probably since around 2010, and I've always I've enjoyed the show.
All right, good.
Frankly, I've enjoyed the show a great deal.
You
more
got to
back
rise above these other YouTube callers, Dave. You got to make
Pardon me?
you got to rise above these other YouTube callers tonight. They've been awful so far. So this is your chance.
I'm not crank calling or anything like that. I just want
Okay.
a little small critique.
Yeah, please.
You know, as far as the Free State Project is concerned, I've always agreed with it. I've always thought you guys are doing a great job. I too have kind of questioned the effectiveness of moving to a small town, making a small enclave, and like how, you know, that'll be important to you. It'll express freedom to you, but you know, it can be a great example to the rest of the country. But apart from that, it's like that's about as far as the effectiveness is concerned.
Okay, so that's first of all, that's a misunderstanding.
I don't want to start an argument here.
Hold on, that's
Not
before you.
necessary debating.
Yeah, that's fine. But I just want to correct what you've said, and if you want to continue the discussion, you're welcome to it. So hang on,
Sure.
We'll bring it back. But the point is not to move people into a small town for an enclave.
No.
The point of the migration of libertarians and voluntarists to New Hampshire is to move all across New Hampshire, to move wherever it is that you feel like you should end up. Maybe it's because of a job, or you like the area, or whatever. So yeah,
people are across the state.
Misconception. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Liquid Chops, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Join us on the radio here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And we've got Skype. Our Skype username here is LRN.FM. And we do want you to know about the Free Talk Live AMP program. It is a great way to get behind this show for $5 per month. And that money gets you access to some perks, some special things like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, AMP-only Facebook group, and the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the regular podcast commercials that our normal podcast does. So you get some cool perks, and you can feel good because you're helping Free Talk Live get on more radio stations, for instance, or bring new internet listeners on board. Again, the AMP program, you go to amp.freetalklive.com to get signed up. You can use any major credit card. You can use PayPal and even Bitcoin over at amp.freetalklive.com. So please get signed up. Makes a big difference for us when you do that. Helps us spread the ideas of liberty and peace as far and as wide as possible. That's amp.freetalklive.com. Back to Dave in Los Angeles, watching us on our YouTube feed at cam.freetalklive.com. So, Dave, you were saying that you had a critique or two for the idea of kind of the Free State Project.
I didn't want to make that my main point, but yeah, I can see your point. It's a valid point. It makes a big difference locally. I can see if you can convince enough people who have the activist bone active in them to go there and do something, just anything, just their own idea of being an activist. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing.
Best of luck.
There are thousands
I just don't see that. I see that being a great asset to New Hampshire.
Yes.
I see New Hampshire possibly being a fantastic example for everywhere else on Earth.
Yep, that's true.
And hopefully it makes a big difference globally.
That's the idea.
That's not my main point of calling. The main point was I've listened to you guys for a long time, and before I forget, been planning on calling for the past few weeks, for quite a few weeks, to welcome Mark back from his sailing trip wherever he went. Seriously, man, I missed you. I missed you terribly. As a matter of fact, I kind of stopped. I really did stop listening to the show until Mark got back because, to be perfectly honest,
Ian doesn't make any sense. He's like a rabid dog.
Other people stop listening to the show when you come back, Mark.
Ian's it doesn't make any sense. He's like a rabid dog.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is this. Back in the day, you guys were like really good friends. And then at some point a few years ago, something happened, and it's like Mark, he can make a statement like he did a while ago about just how some people are active and some people aren't very active. And then Ian will jump down his throat. You will jump down his throat and just, well, how do you know? How do you know? And then later you'll agree with them.
He doesn't know.
But
and I've jumped down his throat for years.
Some people are active, some people aren't active. That's the way
That's
the
true. But Mark
that way.
believes that if he doesn't see somebody's activism, then they're not active, and that's ridiculous.
Said that.
That's basically what you said.
It's ridiculous to even pick at it. The whole point is silly. really to pick at, because the fact is, some people are active, some people won't be active, some people will barely
I understand
be active.
that. I understand that.
It doesn't matter
but
if he
he's
sees them or not.
he's claiming that the majority of the people who move here are not active because he, Mark Edge, does not see their
I didn't hear him say
activism.
the majority. I didn't hear him say the
He
majority.
believes that. Let me tell you.
I think I do believe the majority of people are not, are not active sufficiently to sort of make a move to a particular state worthwhile.
Our relationship hasn't changed, by the way. I mean, I've jumped on Mark. He's jumped on me for years on this show. I mean, it's never been any different.
We
from
make a living doing that.
Day one.
It's been different since Daryl showed up, though. It has been different. And I'll guarantee you, years ago it was enjoyable, and then they went through a period where there was personality conflicts like crazy, and I couldn't stand it. Then I got back into the show, and I can kind of stomach it again. But seriously, dude, I mean, you guys got to be friendly, because when you start jumping down each other's throats, and it's only one way. I don't.
If Mark's wrong, I'm going to tell him he's wrong. I mean, it's not that I don't care about him or love him or whatever. It's just a show, dude. It's just a show.
Yeah. But
so don't take it too serious.
We made a whole
make it enjoyable and keep it good work. So thanks a lot.
That's his opinion,
All right.
and it's valid for him, Ian.
Yeah, that's fine. It's your experience.
Yeah. So I would say in defense of Ian, we made a whole car ride yesterday, the day before yesterday, and yesterday we went down to New York City for 4 hours, and then we drove back
in a
for 4
hotel room
hours,
together.
Stayed in a hotel room.
Certainly. Well, how about removing that video with Mark flipping out on the air?
No way, dude. It's like our most
hilarious.
viewed video.
It's hilarious. I mean,
he apologized. Look, here's one thing you never got to see, and it doesn't say in that video. Is I left this house having every intention of never coming back. All right, like Ian called before I got home and apologized. I don't remember if it was a message on my phone or whether it was an apology directly to me. Before I got home, that changed my mind because he acted so quickly. It wasn't one of those situations where I had to twist his arm and
you
make
would come
him
crawling
apologize.
back anyway eventually.
That's what your claim is.
Yeah, you would have.
This makes me feel good. This makes me feel good because you guys do a great job, and I'd like to see it continue. But I mean, seriously, just keep it going on a good positive note, and you'll make a bigger difference than you'll make otherwise.
Thanks for the call tonight, Dave.
That's my only critique, man.
All right, I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. I mean, I don't ever feel like I'm not positive in general. I mean, you're kind of annoying sometimes, Mark, but I'm sure you feel the same way about me. And it's only because you're just, you and I don't agree on everything, and that's okay.
I think that's
part of I think what makes the show interesting. If we were both in agreement and we both didn't care about what the other person had to say, then it would be less passionate.
I think sometimes it sounds contrived, right? So I haven't gotten on the air and complained about the level of activism I see here in New Hampshire. I have done it to your face.
You have complained.
Not
you
much.
You just complained tonight.
When?
When you talked about how people aren't doing activism.
I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of people move here. I said a lot of people move here and don't do anything, and I think that
you have no evidence for it.
Well, and you have no evidence that they are, because they're not. A lot of people, which is.
You're the one jumping to a conclusion, Mark. I don't know what they do.
Okay.
I presume that they're doing things because they moved here for a movement where you're supposed to be active to the maximum extent possible. That you can
and
accomplish.
I presume they're not, because life is hard. It takes a lot of work to make enough money to keep a family going. If you've got kids, there's a lot of work involved in that. And basically, by the time you're done with family and kids and a little bit of stuff to make life worthwhile,
it may just be writing a letter to the editor, but you wouldn't know that because you don't read every newspaper from every single city in New Hampshire, so you wouldn't know who's writing letters to the editor. You don't know who's calling the governor's office.
If 200 activists across the state were writing one letter a month to the editor, to their local newspaper, I darn sure would know it.
I doubt it. How would you know? You don't read the Seacoast paper.
There's, a dozen newspapers tops in New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Tops. Half a dozen might be topping it out.
Yeah, when's the last time you read the letters to the editor of every newspaper in the state?
I read some local ones.
Okay, that doesn't.
But they get
how
reprinted,
are you gonna know?
Ian.
Only if they send them to every single paper.
Papers reprint other papers' letters to the editor.
No, they do not. The reason why they get the same letters is because the letter writers write to more than one paper,
because
so that's the reason why.
Activists would post those letters to the editor online and say, hey, look what I read in the paper. Isn't this awesome that there's people
Where
in
would
New
they
Hampshire
post it online? Facebook?
Facebook.
Facebook's designed to where you don't see anything useful. So you won't see half the things that people are doing because even if they post it to Facebook, you won't know about it.
I know a lot of
Facebook's
activists.
designed to do that.
Okay, well, there you
You're
go.
more likely to see the drama
People must be active
threads.
because Facebook is designed not to see whatever you think they shouldn't see.
No, I'm
It's
telling you that
ridiculous.
people are active because that's why they moved here. If you want to know what people
It's a
do, just
presumption.
ask them. Just ask them what they're doing, and then they'll tell you. The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. Like Freedom, a lot of people don't want to advertise on Front Street what they're doing because they're going in the back door.
That's the best. Yeah, best choice.
Well, so they don't want to talk about that stuff publicly. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Nathan is in Lynchburg listening to WLNI, and you can go ahead, bring up whatever's on your mind. Go ahead, Nathan.
WLNI 1059 here in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Yep, great station.
Hey, guys. How you doing this evening?
Welcome. You're on the air.
Hey, I've been wanting to talk to you guys a while about an issue
All right.
that I've been thinking about, just sitting and stewing and watching and listening. It just seems to me like the laws of the land are what keep our society going. It's what keeps our society running. And who are those laws written for, mainly? They're written for the citizens, am I correct? They're written for those who are under...
I mean,
Well,
it's not
why
like
do-
anybody
are you-
reads
are
them.
you written, I mean, they're written for citizens to obey? Is that what you mean?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
yes, of course, right?
we
That's
the
what
we the
we go with
burden
it.
underneath the the carrying the political class and the ruling class above us. Yes, we are the ones that have to follow laws. Right.
Well, weren't we founded upon the basis of that there really was no class like you have in India or some other foreign third world countries? Well, aren't we subject, all of us, to the law here in this land?
I think that
Whether
that's
you
the
be-
premise.
That's what they'd like you to believe, but it's pretty clear that there's an us versus them as far as we're subject to the laws, but the government people generally are immune from prosecution.
But why is that? Is it because of what they know? Is it
'cause how
because of
power
they
works.
have...
Let's talk about it further. If you want to hang on, Nathan, we can continue the discussion here. They give themselves immunities. So you look up sovereign immunity, qualified immunity. What's the third one?
Sovereign and
immunity,
qualified are the only ones
immunity.
I can think of.
There's another one.
Okay.
855-450-FREE. Like Free Talk, or like Freedom. This is Free Talk Live. Hour 3 coming up. Join us.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
I've discovered the next big thing on the internet. Symbi.com is a symbiotic economy with its own currency where people trade services virtually and locally. Forget the old economy. This is your economy. Symbi.com is slick to use and is backed by the same people that helped launch Reddit and Airbnb. I'm not kidding when I say this is the next big thing. Trust me. Go get an account at Symbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Symbi, SIMBI.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, June 3rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,279 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.9 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,522. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon continues to offer official civilian death tolls from the U.S. air war in Iraq and Syria that is only a tiny fraction of the killings documented by private non-government organizations, but even this deliberate undercount is rising at a growing rate, reflecting what is in reality a precipitous spike in civilian deaths. The last report from early May only confirmed 23 civilians killed in the entire first quarter of 2017. That's been revised upwards to 128 as the Pentagon finally admitted to killing 105 civilians in a March 17th incident in Mosul. All indications from independent sources are that the Mosul incident actually killed around 220 people. The Pentagon added another 27 civilian deaths in their new report, which includes April, with almost all of those deaths also happening in Mosul. This once again is far below the many hundreds reported killed everywhere else, but dramatically more than the single-digit monthly tolls they usually admit to. This increase thus really isn't so much them getting closer to being honest about the toll, since they were virtually obliged to finally include the Mosul death toll after publicly admitting to it, but the fact that even their fake numbers are spiking suggests they are at least aware of the trend. Many figures will be particularly important as there were multiple huge incidents of civilian deaths in both Iraq and Syria attributed to U.S. airstrikes, with hundreds being killed on a weekly basis in the air war. It will be increasingly difficult for the Pentagon to keep its false figures low enough to brag about how careful they are about civilian deaths. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Office of Government Ethics is asking the White House to clarify a number of procedural waivers it granted to staffers amid questions about whether President Donald Trump's administration may have violated federal ethics rules. OGE Director Walter Schaub Jr. said on Friday his office will seek more information about 10 of the 14 conflict of interest waivers the White House disclosed this week that enabled executive staff members to interact with former employers and clients after they took office. The OGE is interested in the 10 waivers because they were undated and unsigned, meaning they could have been issued retroactively and not approved beforehand by White House lawyers. White House counsel wrote in one of the waivers, "I am issuing this memorandum retroactive to January 20th, 2017. In a report by the New York Times, Schwab said there's no such thing as a retroactive waiver. If you need a retroactive waiver, you have violated the rules. Among the White House's 14 ethics waivers was a blanket release that permitted appointees to communicate with news organizations about policy matters after Trump took office, which critics say could be an after-the-fact effort to clear senior advisor and former Breitbart news chief Steve Bannon of interactions he purportedly had with his former news outlet after January 20th. Trump previously had Bannon sign an ethics pledge that barred him from interacting with Breitbart for 2 years. Other administration members also signed the pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports 3 former Pennsylvania State University officials were sentenced to jail on Friday for covering up ex-coach Jerry Sandusky's sexual predation and effectively letting him victimize more boys. In sentencing all 3 men for child endangerment, Judge John Bocabella in Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas also harshly criticized the late revered football coach Joe Paterno for failing to alert authorities. Former university president Graham Spanier, former athletic director Timothy Curley, and former vice president Gary Schultz were accused of covering up a 2001 complaint filed by then grad student Michael McQueary. Sandusky is serving 30 to 60 years in prison after he was convicted in 2012 of sexually abusing 10 boys over a 15-year period. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Hundreds of exasperated Americans confirmed Thursday that, for fuck's sake, the article they just clicked on is actually a stupid video.
I clicked on the story thinking I'd be in and out of there in 30 seconds, but then that little buffering thing popped up and I was like, here we go.
Quickly hitting the mute button after being disoriented by a loud blast of noise from some stupid ad for Hotels.com. Many of the deceived then scanned the webpage for some corresponding write-up so that they could simply read in peace, but reports indicated that would just be too convenient, wouldn't it?
Look, I don't want to watch a report or interview or panel discussion or whatever the hell this is. I just want to skim an article real quick and move on with my day. This is bullshit.
After seriously considering hitting the back button on their browsers, sources say the majority of readers decided to just let the video play out.
You know what? I'll watch the thing, and I'll probably watch the next video that automatically loads afterwards.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial on in toll-free and join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And we go back to your calls and thoughts. If we get the chance, we'll talk more about expatriation, people leaving the United States. The numbers are up again. Last few years, they've been going up, and we've got some more information about that. We opened the show with a little bit, but there's a little bit more that I think is worth sharing. So that's coming up if we get through your calls and thoughts, which come first. So let's go back to Nathan in Lynchburg, Virginia, listening to WLNI-FM. Now, Nathan, just to bring our listeners who might just be tuning in up to speed, you'd called in about the law, like the idea that it should apply to everybody, but it doesn't really seem to. Like the government agents, for instance, seem to manage to avoid having their own laws applied to them in a whole lot of instances. And I did pull up a list of some of their immunities. Have you been aware that the government has immunities, or is that a new idea to you?
No, I've always been aware of that. I mean, especially if you're coming from another foreign country and you're a representative of that foreign country, you pretty much can get away with murder.
Diplomatic immunity is what that one is. That's what you're. I first learned about that in Lethal Weapon 2, where it didn't save the guy at the very end from being blasted away by Riggs and Murtaugh. But yeah.
But let me just. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
You also have, just real quick, you also have qualified immunity, which is the immunity of individuals performing tasks supposedly as part of the government's duties. You've got sovereign immunity, which is the prevention of lawsuits or prosecution against rulers or governments without their given consent. There's state immunity, the principle of international law that the government of a state is not amenable before the courts of another state. And there's a few others, but it's the big two that you tend to hear about, at least for our government bureaucrats, not the diplomats, but ours. The qualified and sovereign immunity basically prevents them from being held to account legally for pretty much anything they do, unless it's the most egregious, outrageous, thing they could possibly do. Like if a cop rapes somebody, usually they're going to bring charges against that cop, but in a lot of cases, cops can get away with murder. Anyway, go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, yeah, I was just saying, so these immunities that we're talking about here are written by the lawmakers who write the laws.
That's right.
That just seems like it's a conflict of interest.
Sure is.
To the law. So which one is the law? Just this fictional made-up thing that we're duped into following and make-believe?
Yes.
So that we keep order and social some sort of social sobriety, or is there a concept of this law that is much greater than what man has written on a piece of paper?
So I believe
yes and yes.
This is where Ian and I part ways. I believe that morality is written on our hearts by God, right? Like I think that that morality is true for aliens, it's true for us, it's true everywhere. Now, obviously people disagree with it philosophically. This is a pretty tough conversation, but there's something out there that they call natural law. And natural law suggests that if there's not a victim, there's not a crime. right? It suggests that your rights end when when you harm someone else, that you must make other people right, that something that one does maliciously deserves greater punishment than what one does sort of accidentally. There's these sort of truisms, I think, that sort of exist out there that the vast majority of people accept and believe as true, cross-culturally and these sorts of things.
They believe it inherently is true. Where do we disagree on that? I agree with you completely.
You don't believe that morality even exists. And you've said
I don't know about that.
Multiple times.
But no, I think that you're generally right that in what you say. I just think that there's subjectivity to some extent to morality.
Well, I would agree with you on that. There's certainly some subjectivity. People agree and disagree on lots of things.
But I do agree with you, because what you're saying is sort of in line with what Nathan was saying here, is that you've got all these man laws that are words on paper, basically opinions written by, most of the time, total strangers, people who you've probably never even met, that have written tomes and tomes of these man laws. And then there's, like you said, Mark, the natural law, the things that we know in our hearts are wrong. That's where the term ignorance of the law is no excuse originally came from, as we have heard. I don't know, I've never done the research.
12th century maxim.
Right. The reason why that's a maxim is not because everyone could possibly be expected to read these tomes of laws. I mean, even the cops don't even know all the laws. The government bureaucrats that write them don't know them all. It's an impossibility to even in a lifetime, if you spent 8 hours a day reading laws, you would never actually complete the task at just the federal level, let alone the state or the local ordinances and statutes and things like that. So it's an impossibility. So therefore, of course, you're going to be ignorant of those laws. You couldn't possibly be anything but ignorant of them. But the statement, ignorance of the law is no excuse, it's sort of trotted out as this sort of flippant thing that people say to justify any kind of government aggression against people. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, you should have known. No. What that statement, where that came from, was that sort of natural law, that natural understanding of what's right and wrong, that preschool level, don't hurt people concept of how to get along with other human beings. If you hit somebody, you've done wrong. That's what they were talking about when they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. You can't say you were ignorant of that. But now it's been bastardized into this general justification for whatever kind of stupid, intrusive laws that they want to pass. So, yeah, I think we're pretty much in agreement on that, Nathan. Other thoughts you want to share, please?
Yeah, just quickly. It just seems to me that if they're going to be called public servants, that they should serve the public. And if the public has to be held to a certain standard, then they also should be held to a certain standard. You can't prove intent, but you can prove what they did. If they did something that broke the law, to say, oh, well, there's no reasonable prosecutor who would take this case because you can't prove there's no intent there. I'm sorry, but what they did, if it broke the law, they need to be held according to the same standards as we are, the normal citizens.
Why shouldn't they be held to a higher standard? I mean, if indeed...
that would be great. That would be great, but unfortunately, they're like us. They're just as messed up. So they're going to make mistakes and whatever, but when they do make mistakes, they should resign from their position.
Yeah. And they not only that, they should
them.
be, they should have to pay restitution for anybody that they caused harm. And unfortunately, they are completely immune from that. And
one more thing. I want to just say, I voted for Donald Trump. But for him to stand up there and say he's the law and order candidate like Reagan did and like so many other people who stood up there and whatever, and then to see our judicial system, which the common man like I am absolutely thinks is a big joke, so much so that, with the lawyers and the J&D courts and all the other little courts that are out there, and these judges are just so ridiculous that, I mean, it's hard to imagine or fathom going into a situation where you're going to a courtroom where a judge is actually caring about the truth instead of whose lawyer is better or whose lawyer is not, or does this person have a lawyer even?
The judge more cares about upholding the interests of the state. And so, whatever their decisions are at the district court level, for instance, are almost always that decision that favors the state. And that is their goal. And if you don't...
That's great, but I don't believe that. I believe that they have their own ulterior motives, and they have certain people that know them with certain cases that sort of go golfing with them sometimes and talk over a thing of brandy.
That's definitely true, especially in the smaller towns where every attorney sees the same judge all the
Judges
time.
first represent themselves, then they represent the people around them, then they represent the government, and then they represent justice.
Hey, Nathan, great call tonight. Thank you.
Thank you,
for
gentlemen.
Sharing.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, I mean, certainly a judge is going to do a buddy a favor. I mean, that's just plain old. I don't know if you can use the term nepotism, but that's just how things. The good old boy network, I guess, would be a better term there. So yeah, of course, the good old boy network comes first and foremost, but ultimately, the judge's job is to support the state. That's what they do. That's why they rule against peaceful people who have never harmed another person, because it's in the interest of the state. The state needs money. And so they want to run people through the the cash register there, which is basically all that these courts are. And it sounds like he's probably been to a couple of court hearings, given how jaded he is towards them. There's people who are the respectables who don't go to court unless they're in some sort of civil case, and they don't know what it's like in criminal court. They don't know how ridiculous it absolutely is. We'll continue here. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live. But he mentioned public servants. Let's talk about that coming up. What is that?
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Get started at Dash.org. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help us create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org and get your own Dash wallet today. That's Dash.org.
Join me, George Norrie, in Joshua Tree, California, May 19th through the 22nd for the Contact in the Desert UFO Conference, a weekend of in-depth exploration into ancient aliens, human origins, crop circles, UFO sightings, and new evidence of ongoing contact. The conference will feature panels, lectures, films, workshops, and field work with leading experts including me, Dr. Stephen Greer, Giorgio Tsoukalos, David Wilcock, Corey Good, Graham Hancock, Linda Moulton Howe, Jim Mars, Michael Tellinger, Eric Von Daniken, Doc Wallach, and many, many more of the biggest names in ufology. Joshua Tree Retreat Center offers the perfect place for sightings through the clear desert sky. Last year, hundreds saw several real craft up there, as we reported on Coast to Coast. Tickets to Contact in the Desert are available at contactinthedesert.com. That's contactinthedesert.com, or by calling 323-721-1743. That's 323-721-1743.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. You can Skype in here and join us at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And Bitcoin.com. It's the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. If you want to buy Bitcoin, you can do it through Bitcoin.com. Maybe you want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users. You can get on their forum. It's always open and censorship-free, which is a problem on some of those other Bitcoin chatter forums. You go to Bitcoin.com or forum.bitcoin.com. We'll take you right to their forum. There are no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team, and that's why they're a one-stop shop for everything that you need to get into Bitcoin life. Whether you're brand new to Bitcoin or you're old school, you've been involved for a long time, you just want to get the latest news, they got a great news section over at Bitcoin.com. Plus, you can even play games with your Bitcoin at games.bitcoin.com. Go learn more at Bitcoin.com. As we continue, you can bring up anything you want. We're going to go back to your calls and thoughts, but I did want to address something our last caller, I think it was Nathan, had pointed out. He used the term public servants, and he wanted the government servants to actually serve rather than take advantage and extract wealth and obedience. Because
if they called them petty tyrants or
masters,
money-grubbing, power-hungry, jerks,
thugs,
people wouldn't want to listen to them. Right. That's why they use the terminology, public servant, because it makes them look humble.
Yes, and when it comes to the government and their statutes and ordinances, words mean things. Words are very important to government. That's why in legal definition sections you will see them redefine words that you thought you knew what they meant, like person. The word person, when it comes to the government, not only can include an individual, but can also include a corporation. A person, I was just looking at some of this today, a person can include a couple, a domestic partnership, a corporation. These are things that we don't typically think of when we think of the word person. But in government land, in legal land, the word person can mean whatever they say that it means. And so they do this all the time. Now, if you were to actually look at the definitions of public or servant, or you kind of think outside of the box, there's sort of the propaganda of public servant. Yes, we are public servants. Here to serve and protect is what the police say. But when you look at what they actually do, you find out that they're not really lying to you, although the government will certainly lie in plenty of opportunities. There's no punishment to them generally for telling lies. But in this case, they're actually being honest. The word public is another word for government. They'll always talk about the public. They're not talking about you and I. They're not talking about the members of the mass of body politic or whatever. They're talking about them.
The state's attorney represents the public, right?
He represents the state.
Public school is a government school.
It's government school.
Right.
Exactly. So public, whenever you see just try it. Whenever you see them using the word public, just think, oh, that means government, and plug the word government in there instead, and it'll all start to make more sense. So who are they serving? They're serving the state. The government bureaucrats at the DMV they call you a customer, but that's just BS. They're there to extract wealth and obedience from you in service of the state. they're giving you a driver's license not because they care about you being safe on the roads. It's because they want to know who you are. They want you to be obedient, and they want you to pay them. That's what they want. Because any monkey who can, drive a car can get a driver's license. A chimpanzee would be able to get a driver's license. It's such an easy thing to do. I remember that from when I was a teenager. I was shocked at how easy the driving test was.
Yeah, a driver's test is, driver's license is a way for the state to get some money and for them to be able to pull it away.
To take the privilege.
Right, to take away the privilege to drive.
Because that's control. And they want control over you. Because, again, a servant is not someone who wants to control their master. It's supposed to be the other way around. If they were serving you, they would do what you said. If you walked into the DMV, almost everyone who walks into the DMV here in Keene, New Hampshire gets told no the first time up. There's almost always some sort of little mistake that they made. They forgot, document A or document B or whatever. And you almost always have to go home and, jump through some arbitrary hoop before you can come back, and maybe you'll get it right the second time. A servant would be like, oh, well, excuse me, let me see if I can do something to help you with this, and let's see if we can just get this through anyway. You got most of what you need. That's good enough. I'm your servant here. I'll do whatever it is I can.
I'm here to take your money to give you a piece of paper so you can do what you want.
I'll do whatever it is I can to help you. No, they want to do whatever it is they can to tell you no so you can go away and come back later.
Right. These muprons up here that in Keene's DMV, they couldn't understand the dinghy that we bought for our boat. This is an inflatable boat. It's about 8 feet long.
You have to go to the DMV if you have a boat?
Yes. If you have a motor on it, you need to get some kind of licensure for it and put stickers on the side and that whole thing. We were going to do it up here in New Hampshire. Well, they decided that we had to get something from the manufacturer. The manufacturer of the boat that we bought at like West Marine or something like that, because they decided that the serial numbers doesn't fit here and the blah 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 blah. We went down to Florida, registered it down there. Thanks.
Got her
done. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and look at the cops. Protect and serve? Who? Who are they protecting and serving? It's certainly not us, generally. Now, every now and then they'll go after a real bad guy, but a lot of times they're going after pot smokers, underage drinkers, people who are running through a stop sign or whatever.
Well, when you say running through a stop sign, I want them to get the people to run through the stop sign.
Rolling through a stop sign.
Rolling through the stop sign. The people that sort of drive normally and then get tickets for it really kind of bug me, especially if you just put a video camera outside the police station.
Drive like how they drive, which they roll through stop signs all the time.
People who drive like they drive get tickets.
Yeah. So, again, they're there to serve themselves. They're serving their masters in the state government. They're serving their city councilors. They're serving the police chief. But they're certainly not serving you for the most part. If they do, it's only for image. If they do, it's only to, paper over and distract you from what they're really doing, which is ruling over you and extracting your wealth and obedience. So that said, let's continue with your calls and thoughts. Veronica is on the line, listening in Philadelphia via YouTube. Go ahead, Veronica.
Hi there. I'm a fairly new listener.
Welcome.
And you guys are on fire tonight. I'm loving the topics and the flow of the show.
Thanks.
My boyfriend Jeremy turned me on to the show, so I know he's listening too while at work.
All right.
Anyway, yes, I kind of want to tag on to a previous caller. He was kind of voicing maybe his opinion about the flow of the show, and perhaps you and Ian and Mark were fighting. Yes. I read a lot with Daryl, so I almost called you Daryl, but anyway. I don't think I can understand the caller mentioning like, why are you guys fighting? Because as a new and infrequent listener, sometimes the semantical arguing might be a little bit cringy, but I understand it. It's, all sides. And so I thought to myself, well, what is the mission statement of the show? So I looked on your website and went to about the show. What is Free Talk Live? Would you guys identify that as your main mission statement for the show, or do you have your own mission statement elsewhere?
Jeez, I don't even know what that thing says.
I think that just more talks about what the show is. Like, it's an open phone show. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but if you want, stand by, Veronica. I don't know. We definitely have a mission. I just don't know if that's on that page. Let's talk about that coming up here. What is the mission of Free Talk Live? It's Free Talk Live.
Yesterday, I got a call from the IRS. They say I owe them over $16,000. I don't have that kind of money.
Don't try to fight the IRS on your own. Use Coast One Financial Group and let them help you get a fresh start. If you owe at least $10,000 in back taxes, call now for a free and confidential tax debt analysis. Call Coast One now for a free consultation at 800-643-4661 now. 800-643-4661. That's 800-643-4661.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial on in, toll free here. Our number 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and we invite you to Skype into the show here at username lrn.fm. Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are fast, or can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. You can find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. As we go back to Veronica, listening in Philadelphia on our YouTube feed at cam.freetalklive.com. You were asking about our mission statement for Free Talk Live. You've gone to our About the Show page on the website, which does kind of talk about, just now pulling it up here, it does talk about what Free Talk Live is as an open phones panel discussion with a variety of hosts, and that we're pro-liberty. But I don't know if I would consider that a mission statement. I would say that the mission, and maybe we each have our own missions here on Free Talk Live, but the mission generally for me is to spread the ideas of liberty and peace as far and as wide as possible. That's what we do here, and Veronica, you're welcome to share more of your thoughts.
Yeah, I like how you said it. You said your version of your own mission statement. Your show is called Free Talk Live. To even grasp freedom, it's, the masses, a lot of people, I consider myself one of the masses. Well, we are masses, to even think about. So you have your mission statement, and perhaps the other gentleman has his own mission statement. So there's no contract to the show. It's a free show. So, I like where you're coming from there. So,
Mark, what do you think about missions?
But pertaining to the previous caller, maybe he's coming from a place where he likes more structure, or maybe it's to assume that the mission is for you to gain more listeners or to perhaps get people.
Now, which caller are you talking about? The one that was
upset?
You're talking about the one that was upset that me and Mark have arguments from time to time? That one?
Yeah.
That caller?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that what he was, Free Talk Live to some extent is kind of a pro wrestling match, right? Like Ian and I argue, and we argue off the air too. We were a bit mismatched of an odd couple getting on the air in the first place, and it's not like this was ever.
It makes the show great.
Yeah, we have a synergy. All the consultants tell us, so I'm going to have to agree with it, and it's kept me from strangling throughout the years. But it's if you pick a side, right? You pick generally when people listen, they have a favorite, and so it's not like somebody's never called in and scolded me for taking Ian to task on some issue or another.
And some people's favorites are Daryl, by the way. So some people prefer Daryl or some of the other hosts.
Well, Daryl's brilliant.
Everybody's got their own preferences.
Indeed. So.
And that's one of the nice things about Free Talk Live is that it's not the Ian and Mark show. It never was called anything but Free Talk Live. And the reason why I decided that when I created the show is because I didn't want to have a show about a personality like every other talk show out there. I mean, almost every other talk show in the talk radio business and syndicated talk is the name of the host show. Whatever the name of the host is, show. And that's the name of their show. And that means that when that host, dies or, decides to quit or whatever, then that show's over. And Free Talk Live, I wanted to be bigger than that. I wanted it to be bigger than just one or two of the people on the air on that program. I wanted it to transcend those people, whether they would continue to be involved or not. And there was a time, Mark, where you were off the show for like a year or something in the early days, and then you came back on board a little bit later on. And Free Talk Live was still Free Talk Live when you weren't there, and Free Talk Live is still Free Talk Live when you go on your vacation in the wintertime. And so it's really just a concept of freedom, discussion, generally as the overarching viewpoint on the air, but also open phone, so anyone can call about anything, whether it's pop culture or relationships or the issues of the day.
So they want to make us look dumb, they can call in about sports.
There you go. But not Daryl. He knows a lot about sports. Veronica, anything else you want to share tonight?
Well, no, right on. Thanks for taking my call. But yeah, it's sometimes the semantical arguments do, like I said, as a new listener, listening here and there. I don't know. You already told me some of your mission statement. I know you're not here to gain fans. You're here to inform people, teach people about liberty and, that they have that they didn't even know that they really had.
And I agree with you. I don't look to gain fans. I personally don't like being out on Front Street, even though I'm the host of the show, one of the main hosts of the show. I only do it because I felt like it was something that needed to be done. We do want to gain listeners. We do want to gain people listening to these ideas, because if we're just talking into an echo chamber with the same dozen people, then that doesn't work. That doesn't spread the ideas of peace and liberty. But I don't care if somebody's a fan. I just want them to listen to the show. Now, I would like for the best listeners, the most dedicated ones, to support the show so we can help expand Free Talk Live. But fan is short for fanatic. I don't really care whether somebody's a fan of me or not. In fact, a lot of people listen to the show and they don't like me, or they don't like Mark, or they like one or the other, or not both. And to me, that doesn't matter. Whether they're listening is really the ultimate question. And if they're dedicated listeners, we would like to ask them to support the show so we can gain more listeners. I don't care about fans.
Yeah, when it comes to semantic arguments, this is one of the difficulties, is that the words control people. They are shackles by which we are bound. And
very true.
So I like to get those words defined in a way that we can, clearly speak about what it is that we're saying. It's one of the reasons that I don't like to say public school. I like to say government school. It's one of the reasons I say taxation is theft. Sure, it's a form of extortion as opposed to theft, but extortion is a type of theft. So I like to use terms that are very clear. Recently on the show, Ian and I have disagreed on what the term libertarian means.
Not just recently. That's an ongoing argument.
Well, it's been the most recent of semantic arguments that we've had.
Okay.
But yes, we have had that argument going on for a very long time. And, I think that it's an argument worth having, because I feel like excluding people based on a very tight definition of the word libertarian is elitist, it is insulting, and it drives people away from the movement. Ian, on the other hand, is like, well, we've got to just hoard all the words to mean one thing. If we could just make puppy dogs to mean people who believe in non-initiation of force, then we'd have that much more of a victory. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Veronica, thanks for sharing your call and thoughts tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. And whatever, the viewpoints of the host happen to be, having those arguments allows people to make a decision. They can analyze different viewpoints about a thing, whether it's a word or a larger issue or discussion, and they can decide, well, that one makes the most sense to me, and come on board with that viewpoint. And that's one of the things that we do well here, is we present alternative viewpoints that what you normally don't hear on talk radio. And, of course, we also have a podcast, so people that want to listen to us online can go to freetalklive.com. And actually, if you go to feeds.freetalklive.com, that'll take you to our list of different RSS feeds that you can then pop those into your favorite podcast client. And there's a bunch of those, and almost all of them are free. So you can then download the episodes of Free Talk Live at your leisure. And, we were just talking this weekend, Mark, when we were at the Talkers Conference, about we're always kind of analyzing what we don't do and don't do as well as we could, and we haven't really been talking about our podcasts. We just sort of take it as for granted that they'll go to the website and figure it out. Well, some of our radio listeners only get us live on 1 or 2 nights a week, and if you want to get every single show, that is another way to download.
And it doesn't cost you anything, like it does just about every other show out there.
That's true. A lot of those other shows charge for access to their website, and ours is free over at freetalklive.com. We'll continue here with the remaining moments on the way.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2. Call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-9829. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-9829. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks. You know, as part of Hollywood for a long time, I've seen my fair share of celebrities get in trouble with the IRS. Well, there's one name I trust, the Tax Defense Group. They're the most trusted name in tax. So if you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS, you really need to call my friends at the Tax Defense Group. Ignoring the IRS is not the solution. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, seize your home or business. But the Tax Defense Group could put a stop to all of that and tailor a program that would reduce your tax debt to pennies on the dollar. You gotta love that. So don't just take my word for it. Call them. Find out for yourself. They offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And they're open 24 hours a day because they know that tax debt doesn't sleep either.
Call now for your free and confidential tax analysis from the most trusted name in tax. Call 800-361-6907. 800-361-6907.
Like many young inner-city students, Chicago area high school sophomore Brandy Perkins struggles every day to motivate her teachers. The frustrated 16-year-old talked to Onion reporters this morning to discuss the challenges she faces in reaching out to her underperforming educators.
Connecting with the teachers gets harder and harder every year. We all come in every morning eager to learn, but most of the teachers just seem completely uninterested in education. One of my teachers, Miss Manley, has been particularly hard to work with. She was quiet at first, but she showed some potential. I thought maybe she just needed a little time to come out of her shell, but as the weeks went by, she just sat there listlessly at her desk, never talking or participating. It just makes you feel so helpless.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial on in toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever is on your mind. In these remaining moments, we still have enough time for you if you dial in right now at 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. It's Skype username LRN.FM. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here tonight. And also want to let you know about our Patreon that just started up, and honestly, I've been so busy, I really meant to kind of do a rollout with some promotion on social media for this, but I just haven't had time or made the time to do that yet. So we'll talk more about the Patreon over time, but it is a way for you to support LRN.FM. We've broken away the LRN.FM support from the Free Talk Live AMP program, and the Free Talk Live AMP program, which is at amp.freetalklive.com, for $5 a month allows you to support Free Talk Live's expansion. It used to be both Free Talk Live and LRN, but we broke off LRN and its satellite feeds, which we have over Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, so the majority of the continent there, and then also in North and Central America. So we've got two satellites broadcasting internationally, not just Free Talk Live, but dozens of liberty-oriented shows that are different from Free Talk Live. that some people will like better or worse. So you can always go to LRN.FM to listen to the Liberty Radio Network. But if you want to help other people in other countries hear it over free-to-air satellite, you can go to patreon.lrn.fm and get behind the satellite fundraiser. There's a little 3-minute video that kind of shows you where we're currently broadcasting and how we're touching people's lives in, for instance, in Cameroon, Africa, with the message of liberty and peace. So if you want to help us out, it's a $2 Patreon thing. There's not a whole bunch of options, just $2, or if you want, you can throw $450 or $500 at it and then sponsor an entire satellite channel.
Be great.
But we're only asking for $2. So if you think it's a cool idea that people in some of the poorest, most oppressed countries on Earth are able to hear the ideas of liberty, and you think that's worth $2 a month, then please go to patreon.lrn.fm. Or if you're not sure and you want us to pitch you a little further on it, go to patreon.lrn.fm, and you will learn more there as we go to your calls and thoughts. Toll-free number 855-450, free like freedom. It's Sarah in Albuquerque. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, it was announced this morning that about 30 malls across the country are going under.
Yep.
So the way that they're going to rescue them is to build apartment complexes, colleges, churches, and medical centers right in the shopping center. So that happens to be the saving part of the shopping centers.
Now, is that 30 malls expected to close this year, this quarter? I mean, what time frame? Because we know that malls are closing all the time over the last couple of decades, and it's been accelerating, I think, more recently.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great opportunity to do some alternative housing arrangements because it would be kind of nice to be able to walk to the places that you need to get the stuff, get stuff. That would be kind of cool. But people aren't going to malls. Malls are full of expensive clothes and jewelry you don't need and just all kinds of things. Whenever I go, generally when I go shopping, I'm wandering around wondering, why am I here? I don't want any of this
crap.
Stuff, right? I just don't need anything there. But, the things that I do need, groceries and, every once in a while medical and, a good pair of walking shoes, I'm interested in those things.
So, I don't know. That's what they are doing. They're incorporating these, like I said, medical centers and churches, colleges and apartment complexes. And I think
they're changing their business model. Yeah. You think what? Go ahead.
I think it has saved the malls. It has been saving the malls.
It's too early to say. It's too early to say. Now, what is happening, and the reason why they're doing that is because it's getting untenable for these high-end stores to sell products when nobody is walking through these shopping centers anymore. And I'm making general statements. Obviously, there are still some malls that are still in business, but a lot of them have closed, and they've had a difficult time in this new economy where people are able to just go to shop.freetalklive.com and order whatever they want through Amazon and have it delivered to their door. Why bother going into a shopping mall and having to deal with the parking and having to deal with the high prices and the ridiculousness, the teenagers? I mean, there's so many reasons not to go to the mall, and so basically they're running out of prospects as far as stores that they can have in these places. They're having to lower their rents, and as a result of that, they have to open up the options to more mom-and-pop shops, to, like you were saying, churches and other organizations, schools that just need space. So they're turning malls from this sort of elite shopping destination to just a place that has people who want to rent a space. And it's a different time for mall management, those few that are still left. Thank you, Sarah, for the call tonight here. If you want to join us, our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. There's a lot of overhead to running an operation like a mall. You've got to keep that thing air-conditioned and cooled, or heated. It is costly.
But it's already built, and it's likely paid for itself. So, at some point or another, a building owner has to come to the realization that, this thing isn't going to make the kind of money that it was making back in
the 1980s.
90s, right? Like the mall was the place to go. When we were younger, but
not so much anymore.
No, I mean, I haven't been to Camelot Music in a really long time.
Do you think they even exist?
I can't imagine that they do.
Record stores are really more of an anachronism at this point. It's interesting, too. There's some really fascinating photos out there. If you search for like old mall pictures or overgrown mall pictures.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
There's somebody who did a photographic journey or whatever. They took a bunch of pictures, probably from different photographers, but of inside these old abandoned malls, and it's just like something that you'd see in Blade Runner or something, right? Like some sort of weird dystopian future where the mall is like overgrown with plants. All the plants that they had in there, well, they just let them go, and they've taken over in some of these malls. Broken windows because teenagers or whoever, bums, are getting in there and they're living there or they're causing trouble. And so, they've been just destroyed on the inside and plants growing everywhere. I mean, it's just crazy to look at. Now, a lot of them have been taken down. So the photos were taken over the last couple of decades, for instance, before they've just been razed to the ground. But ultimately, it is fascinating to look at these things that were iconic places where everyone went to. At some point in time, all of these malls were bustling with activity and people and, stores and guards and, the food court, and now they're just empty.
Yeah, and in some cases, you're watching them slowly die there. There's
that's gotta be hard.
The employees are standing around wondering, what am I doing here?
Yeah, how long do you have left?
Right.
Is another important question. We saw it happen here in Keene, New Hampshire, where we live. There's a little teeny mall that existed, and it was busy. I remember when we moved here in 2006.
10 years
the place
ago.
was pretty hopping. There were a lot of stores in there, and it was it's like a miniature mall. It had a little teeny food court and bathrooms, and sort of had everything that a mall is supposed to have. A couple of anchor stores, restaurants. But over the years, it's just fallen off as far as people going in there. And the stores started to go out of business, or they'd move to like Main Street where they would get more walk-by traffic and nothing would replace them. And finally, the company that owned that building sold it off to like a holdings company or something that was sort of a management company that bought it for cheap, and they lowered the rents. They tried to bring new people in, tried to bring it back to its glory days, and they failed. And now they are turning it into residential. They're completely turning it into residential, is what I understand from what the plan is there. And it's over. Experiment's done. And that's not an uncommon story for malls all across the United States. It's fascinating.
Well,
look at it.
Some genius is going to figure out what to do with all that particular retail space, and I sincerely...
Some of them decided to tear it down and put something else in its place.
Yeah, in some cases that's probably the right thing to do.
It's probably more efficient. Like if you're going to have a strip mall, then you don't have to pay to, air condition the hallways, right? And all those big common areas where people would walk around.
I feel like you can...
That's wasted space.
If the building exists already, though, I mean, the bones are there.
It seems silly to knock them down.
It seems like you could stack up residential in there and then, outfit half of the mall in retail, and then people could be close to the stores that they might want to use at a given time. That would be attractive to me. It also provides a level of security. Your regular home can be sort of burglarized much more, and home invasions much more easily than they can in many cases condominiums with doors and that sort of thing.
We'll put the story up on our Facebook and Twitter about the expatriation, which we never really got back to. So for those of you who wanted to see the numbers on how many people are leaving the United States and their reasons why, we'll put that up on our Facebook and Twitter at your leisure. You can check those out, and don't forget to get online with us over at freetalklive.com. You can grab archives and the podcast, get interactive with other listeners, and more there. And we'll see you tomorrow night online in the meantime. freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The live edition of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, June 3rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,279 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.9 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,522. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon continues to offer official civilian death tolls from the U.S. air war in Iraq and Syria that is only a tiny fraction of the killings documented by private non-government organizations, but even this deliberate undercount is rising at a growing rate, reflecting what is in reality a precipitous spike in civilian deaths. The last report from early May only confirmed 23 civilians killed in the entire first quarter of 2017. That's been revised upwards to 128 as the Pentagon finally admitted to killing 105 civilians in a March 17th incident in Mosul. All indications from independent sources are that the Mosul incident actually killed around 220 people. The Pentagon added another 27 civilian deaths in their new report, which includes April, with almost all of those deaths also happening in Mosul. This once again is far below the many hundreds reported killed everywhere else, but dramatically more than the single-digit monthly tolls they usually admit to. This increase thus really isn't so much them getting closer to being honest about the toll, since they were virtually obliged to finally include the Mosul death toll after publicly admitting to it, but the fact that even their fake numbers are spiking suggests they are at least aware of the trend. Many figures will be particularly important as there were multiple huge incidents of civilian deaths in both Iraq and Syria attributed to U.S. airstrikes, with hundreds being killed on a weekly basis in the air war. It will be increasingly difficult for the Pentagon to keep its false figures low enough to brag about how careful they are about civilian deaths. You can support FPP Radio by joining the FANS program. FANS are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. FANS help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the FANS program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Office of Government Ethics is asking the White House to clarify a number of procedural waivers it granted to staffers amid questions about whether President Donald Trump's administration may have violated federal ethics rules. OGE Director Walter Schaub Jr. said on Friday his office will seek more information about 10 of the 14 conflict of interest waivers the White House disclosed this week that enabled executive staff members to interact with former employers and clients after they took office. The OGE is interested in the 10 waivers because they were undated and unsigned, meaning they could have been issued retroactively and not approved beforehand by White House lawyers. White House counsel wrote in one of the waivers, "I am issuing this memorandum retroactive to January 20th, 2017. In a report by the New York Times, Schwab said there's no such thing as a retroactive waiver. If you need a retroactive waiver, you have violated the rules. Among the White House's 14 ethics waivers was a blanket release that permitted appointees to communicate with news organizations about policy matters after Trump took office, which critics say could be an after-the-fact effort to clear senior advisor and former Breitbart news chief Steve Bannon of interactions he purportedly had with his former news outlet after January 20th. Trump previously had Bannon sign an ethics pledge that barred him from interacting with Breitbart for 2 years. Other administration members also signed the pledge. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports 3 former Pennsylvania State University officials were sentenced to jail on Friday for covering up ex-coach Jerry Sandusky's sexual predation and effectively letting him victimize more boys. In sentencing all 3 men for child endangerment, Judge John Bocabella in Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas also harshly criticized the late revered football coach Joe Paterno for failing to alert authorities. Former university president Graham Spanier, former athletic director Timothy Curley, and former vice president Gary Schultz were accused of covering up a 2001 complaint filed by then grad student Michael McQueary. Sandusky is serving 30 to 60 years in prison after he was convicted in 2012 of sexually abusing 10 boys over a 15-year period. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Sea anemones are the most disgusting of all tidal creatures. Their thick tentacle arms are engorged with the collected urine that makes up much of tide pools. Whale urine, fish urine, otter urine, crab urine, all sucked up by the moon and deposited in these natural outhouses. Clownfish share a symbiotic relationship with sea anemones. The clownfish cleans the sea anemone. In exchange, the anemone sprays urine on the face of the clownfish. It's one fetishistic delight. Contrary to popular belief, sea urchins are not in fact animals. Indeed, they are not alive at all. They are simply the clumped together leavings of the ocean's denizens.
This is the Onion News Network.
It's time for Off the Air Live. And here's your host, Cody O'Connor.
Here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we've also got Skype. You can Skype into the show here at Skype username LRN.FM. Tonight, with you in the studio, and we're going to start out with a story that I mentioned on, I think it was Wednesday, because that was the last time that we were both on the air. Mark, you and I took the last couple nights off to go down to New York City, where Talkers...
New York City?
Yeah, where I get a rope. Where Talkers was hosting their yearly seminar/convention thing. It's a talk radio industry thing, and we've been going. This was, I believe, our 12th year. And so thank you to all of our Free Talk Live listeners who have become amplifiers for $5 a month. They've gotten perks for that $5, and we can talk more about that program later on. But it was the amplifiers who sent us down there and have been sending us down there year after year to schmooze it up with the bigwigs in talk radio. And it was good. It was a good conference. So glad to be back. We'll take your calls as always. Again, 855-450-FREE. But here's one of the stories that we didn't really get to cover that I thought was important, and it's very similar in sound to a story that we've covered, I think, at least twice in the last couple of years, which the last headline was that the amount that expatriation costs, the fee that you have to pay in order to leave the United States legally, like, see you later, don't want to be here anymore, Barack Obama or Donald Trump or whatever the reasons are,
whomever,
people leave, there's a fee that the government wants to charge you on the way out. And the news in the last couple of years was that fee had, I believe, doubled, if I'm recalling correctly. But yet, the number of people that wanted to leave and were leaving was continuing to increase.
So there's a fee, and then there's the exit tax. Okay, so there's a percentage of your wealth you must give up to leave the country. and you must pay a fee in order to give up your citizenship. So, you can go someplace and you can live someplace.
But they still own you.
Well, that's
the
what
idea.
The United States government is unique in the world in that it claims a portion of your earnings no matter where you are in the world. Okay? So pretty much every government on the planet, except the United States' government, will say that, hey, you owe us money that you make inside this particular polygon on the map.
Because you're here.
Right. If you're outside of this polygon, then that's the problem with the next polygon that you're in, whatever it means. So that makes more sense because essentially
it's still criminal.
Well, what it is it's a super ownership, a super level of ownership on land. So you own your property, however, there's an organization above your property which also claims to own it. So
then you don't own it.
Right, I understand.
You have maybe a ability to transfer a title that confers some level of responsibility for that property, but ultimately, if they get to take it from you, then you don't really own it.
Sure. You don't have certainly sole ownership over it, and there's forms of super ownership over yours. So the